Chapter-421 times are smiling. Zero frowned. He didn't hear the slightest bit of heartbeat from Doflamingo's words, but a hint of irony. That's it if you don't want to, forget it. Zero stood up from the pit. Augustine, you seem to be doing well, but I don't want to hang out with those disgusting bastards anymore. I am now living free. Zero, no, Augustine said. The secrets hidden by the Tianlong people are deeper than you think. Although the national treasure is the foundation of the Tianlong people's rule, how powerful the national treasure is depends on whether people can control it or not. Hidden in the deepest part of Mary Joa. It's a man, right? Doflamingo took over. Huh, you even know this? Augustine's eyes widened. Young, just some speculation. You are still the same, you can't hide your secrets. Augustine, you should be directly under the command of that person. Augustine remained silent. Just a little thought, how did the legend of ageless surgery come about? Why is the family record so sure that the fruit of surgery has that kind of ability? The answer is obvious, someone has fulfilled this condition once. In addition to that mysterious forbidden area, the 5 old stars are guarding it like servants. Are they guarding something? The awakening mechanism of the national treasure, or a person. Although it's a bit unbelievable to say, but connecting all the clues, isn't that the answer? You say yes. Doflamingo stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. The more you know, the less you can be tolerated. But on the other hand, the more they know, the less they dare to act rashly on me, don't they? I heard that you and him are in a cooperative state. Augustine looked up at Neil, who was dancing in the air. It was a long time ago, Dragon. Interesting, isn't it? You shouldn't have known it long ago. No, just some guesses. But I didn't expect that he could really develop the dragon fruit to this point. It really surprised me. That is the awakening, right? He is no longer a human being in the general sense. What? It was also the first time that Doflamingo saw Enel completely beastly. He looked at Enel with an unprecedented frenzy in his eyes. After defeating Augustine, Enel ignored him. The opponent is a Tianlong person, and if he beats the Tianlong person, the admiral will be dispatched to hunt down. It is still unknown what the consequences of killing the Tianlong people will be. This is likely to be the bottom line of the world government. Enel does not want to take the initiative to step on this minefield. Moreover, the opponent was very strong. If it wasn't for a surprise attack with dark water, even if Enel could win, it would be a tragic victory. Although he loses an arm, his combat power will drop a lot, but it is not so easy to kill. Really pushed him into a corner, and the dying counterattack can also make Enel peel off his skin. This is the battlefield, the naval headquarters of the strong like clouds. If the state declines, it may really be fun, and it is very likely to be killed. Enel's resilience is very strong, but after all, it is not really like a phoenix, and the speed of recovery is only barely equal to the speed that a major will cause damage to him. If he is focused by more than 2 generals, he will lose quickly. Although it feels cool to be reckless in the past, but if you are not strong enough, you will die miserably. Enel is not that powerful yet. The war between the Navy and the Whitebeard pirates was drawing to a close, and he didn't want it to end like that. Grab the warship. Everyone get on board. The hope of escaping the Navy headquarters was in sight, and the pirates showed a relieved smile. Malin Faldo, it's hell. Blood and fire, knives and swords, constantly fighting, blindly knocking down one enemy after another. Either kill or be killed, blood and sweat soaking the clothes. Even those pirate captains are not easy. Ordinary pirates can't see the way forward in the battlefield of this meat grinder. Finally can leave. War is not a child's play, it is a sad song written with blood and life. Whether it is the Navy or the pirates, they have seen countless compatriots fall in front of them. Navy, lost their headquarters. The whole of Marineford was beaten to pieces. Pirates, on the unfavorable side, suffered heavy losses. If possible, they would never want to go through a scene like this again. Over the battlefield where sadness spreads and stumps all over the ground, there is a dragon of death, but it happily dances in the air. No matter how much he dies, what does it have to do with him? There was no one he cherished anyway. If you choose the road of galloping on the sea, you have to be prepared from the very beginning that you will not end well. Pirates themselves are playing their lives. Whether it's someone else's or my own. Whether it is the Navy or the Whitebeard pirates, they are all potential opponents of Enel. How is that enough? This death ceremony has just begun. Boom. The warship was smashed to pieces under devastating force. The attack wasn't over yet, and Enel had no intention of stopping. The dark smoke that merged with the domineering color of armament spewed out of Enel's mouth, like a ray, sweeping across the sea around Malenford, turning the ships into wrecks. Boom. The terrifying roar shattered the pirates' hopes and sent them back into hell. Under their desperate eyes, Enel destroyed all the ships at sea. Damn it. Asshole. Damn it, it's only a little short. The black dragon spreads its black wings and hovers in the air, the dragon's claws hang down naturally, and its mouth is slightly opened, as if it is silently laughing. This guy, the captains glared at Neil with angry expressions. What the hell is he trying to do? Is this a fight to the death between us and the Navy headquarters? Damn it, Straw Hat Boy, this is miserable, Ivankov said worriedly. That man really has bad intentions. Jinping sweated coldly on his forehead. Luffy, Hancock looked at Luffy worriedly, and when he caught a glimpse of Enel, his face instantly turned fierce. Damn black dragon bastard. How dare you hinder Luffy and his brother's departure concubine? The concubine really wants to tear him to pieces. Foo foo foo, all the ships have been destroyed. This Malenford has now become a huge coliseum. One side is the Navy headquarters, and the other is the Whitebeard pirates. Even if knowing Neil's intentions, the two sides had to fight each other. Even if they finally win, the strength of the naval headquarters will fall into a trough, resulting in a weakening of the control over the sea. Future turmoil can be foreseen because of his help. This storm may be more violent than expected. Quote. Come on the wave of the times. A brand new world is opening, and the times are smiling. The Navy, pirates, or the Revolutionary Army in hiding in the dark, or the high-level Tianlong people, all forces, all will be on the world stage. Let's have fun. Quote. Doflamingo, with his hands outstretched, looked up at the sky, laughing wantonly. Yang 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 yang. The laughter echoed between heaven and earth, and it didn't go away for a long time. Chapter 422 Healing Dandelion. That bastard. Whitebeard's face was gloomy, and his eyes were full of anger. Karp frowned, and he started to slack off. The weight of the two grandsons has gradually overwhelmed his pursuit of justice. Gia ha 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 ha, the Colosseum, it's so interesting. It's perfect to start a new era with such a grand war. The Golden Lion laughed loudly. Mr. Skur, not just that. There are more interesting things. It should be about the same. Let's start, Carter, Enel said. Meow. I see, Vesey. It digs and digs out of the long, thick cat hair, and pulls out a princess. A compact body, only the size of a human slap. Pointy nose, watery eyes. The long blonde hair grows to the feet. Mancherry, use the healing dandelion to fight the entire battlefield, Carter said. The healing dandelion is made of Mancherry's tears. The cotton wool of dandelion can provide people with miraculous, super recovery, on a large scale. But the effect only lasts for a few minutes. After the time has passed, people will revert to their original state. But they are cured, they will continue to fight. This ability can only temporarily suppress the injury. Once the time passes, the accumulated injury will kill them, Mancherry said hesitantly. Carter rolled his eyes. All he wanted was to kill them. How does the undead Weishi absorb life force? The range of the dark acupuncture point will weaken with the expansion of the area, and the corpse will be easily swallowed. Anyway, do what you want, Carter said impatiently. However, its round cat face couldn't make it look fierce, and it looked naive. Carter's appearance is deceptive, and it would be a big mistake to think of him as harmless. It's super vicious, horribly vicious. If you don't do it, I just don't do it. I won't help you bastards. Meow. Carter showed his teeth and claws, but so cute. So cute. No, no, this guy is a badass. Man Shirley shook her head, and hurriedly expelled the thoughts she shouldn't have. She held her head high, unafraid. Seeing that he couldn't scare the other party, Carter couldn't help but feel very frustrated. The cat's ears drooped down, looking listless. The corners of Anal's mouth twitched, and he felt that he couldn't hold on to his face. Just now I was full of confidence in front of Shaki, but you fell off the chain. Sky squinted, then took a cigar. The smoke drifted upwards slowly. That's the funny thing you said. Anal's face turned darker. Oh no, there seems to be something wrong over there. Hey Carter, how fast you are. Meow, she's not afraid of me. Carter burst into tears. Enel covered her face. Let go of that princess. Let me come. Herring snatched Man Shirley away with a happy look on her face. She was holding the little human princess like a doll. Wow, so cute. She kept rubbing her face against Man Shirley's body. Neil's eyes became cold. Man Shirley's ability is also an important part of the battle. He can't allow Herring to mess around with this kind of thing. Idiot. Lu Huo punched Herring on the head, grabbed Man Shirley, and looked at her with cold eyes. Hurry up or kill all your clansmen. Leo, Gan Chao, you delay for 10 seconds. Zhang, I'll kill one when I go back. Starting from your closest friend. Man Shirley was frightened, then cried and resorted to healing Dandelion. Although she is kind and doesn't want to hurt others, she doesn't want her own people to be killed. Beautiful. It's so neat and tidy. Enel couldn't help but blurt out. His teammates are not a pit, but it is easy to make people anxious when they do things, and the fire is just a light in the darkness. Boom. A thunderstorm fell from the sky, knocking Enel to a stagger. Carter's eyes are clearly saying, let you pretend to be forceful and be struck by lightning. Herring grimaced. One more person fighting with me. This Ray is that guy Milo. Enel raised his head in confusion. Is this a reminder to hurry up? That's right. It's too reluctant to hold on to the red hair by himself. The dandelion shone with crystal brilliance and wafted across the battlefield in the wind. The wounds on the pirates are miraculously healed quickly. Is this the light group that heals Dad? What is he doing? He first destroyed the ship and then helped us heal. Did he let us take down the entire naval headquarters? If there is such a capability to support, then the Navy has nothing to fear. No, it's not right. You see, those Navy's injuries are getting better. A pirate shouted. We are justice. As long as we can swing our swords, we can't stop. Fight against the evil pirates until the end of your life. Don't stand still. Kill all the pirates. The ghost spider gathered the scattered troops. Ah yes, we are justice. For glory, for the light, kill all the evil. Give my life. A Navy looked at the sword in his hand, and his eyes flashed with abnormal enthusiasm. War distorts human nature in the constant fighting. You may forget why you are fighting, just to survive, not to be killed, so you have to kill like a machine, repeating the same action over and over again, until the stamina was exhausted and the injury fell. At this moment, the agitation of the ghost spider gave many navies the confidence to fight again. For justice. The Navy, who had been seriously injured and fell to the ground and recovered under Man Shuili's ability, also joined the chasing team. In order to resist the Navy, the pirates who no longer wanted to fight had to pick up their swords again. War. Just to live. As the ship doctor, Marco clearly felt that something was wrong with those who fell and got up again. He is a phoenix, and his ability is closely related to vitality, and he also has a special induction to vitality. The lives of those people are like candles in the wind, and they may be extinguished at any time. Those who were already down avoid fighting as much as possible. Don't waste your energy, he shouted. Even so, such a wide range of abilities is very abnormal. That man must be planning some kind of conspiracy, but we have no choice. Said a tall man wearing a horn helmet. He is the captain of the 13th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Atmos, Buffalo. Atmos, you're not already taken by that guy from Doflamingo. That's great. Captain, you're not dead. The members of Team 13 cried with joy. Ah, it was supposed to be dead. But that ability, I don't know what happened. It seems that my body has recovered to its peak strength, speed, physical strength, but there is always a feeling of emptiness. Stupid Atmos, stop fighting. Your life's fire is shaky. Marco shouted. It means that I may die at any time then. Let me use this broken body to make the final contribution. Not only did he not stop, but he rushed into the Navy team. Middle. That healing effect is likely to be temporary. While you can still move, kill a few more navies. If you have the guts, come with me. Some people cried bitterly after knowing the truth about their injuries and knowing that they were just delaying their death. No, I don't want to die yet. Some people, on the contrary, are more heroic, showing their final brilliance with their dying lives. Fear of death is not cowardice. Not afraid of death, but also brave. Every life has its own will. Each has its own characteristics. That's why this world is colorful. Chapter 423 Anal Strategic Goals. A few minutes passed quickly and the healing dandelion effect wore off. The wounds that had been suppressed and the new wounds from the battle just now erupted together. Blood gushed from Atmos' wound. He fell softly to the ground, and there was no sound. Captain. Atmos. There are many more such scenes, and they happen everywhere on the battlefield. The Navy and pirates, the injuries accumulated from the fierce battle broke out at one time, and instantly claimed the lives of thousands of people. The dandelion shining with holy light drifted away again, warm and bright, but at this time it became the scythe of the god of death. I knew it was a pit, so I could only jump into it obediently. Especially the pirates who were at a disadvantage. Those pirates who were not injured in the retreat did not have more energy to manage them, and if they fell, it meant that they would never be able to leave Malenford. To accept this healing dandelion, even if they drink poison to quench their thirst, they must run as far as possible while they can. Or, like Atmos, use a life that is doomed to show the last afterglow. Power, there is no good or evil, what it shows is the redemption of angels or the singing of demons, all depends on the person who uses it. The ability that should be used for healing can also be a death song that accelerates the flow of life. Healing fruit has become the catalyst for this war. It made the battle that had gradually subsided intensified. Damn that bastard. Marco looked at Anal with murderous intent in his eyes. Aokiji also stared at him badly, and his actions aggravated the casualties of the Navy. Enel hovered in the air, not caring at all about the risk of being set on fire. He is a naked conspiracy, the Navy and pirates are hostile. Only high-end combat power can threaten him, and when high-end combat power is against him, the battle between ordinary sailors and pirates cannot be stopped. The pirate captains who were at a disadvantage would not ask for trouble to deal with Anal, but would assist ordinary pirates and minimize their casualties. The high-end combat power of the Navy must first deal with the captains of the pirates. They cannot tolerate the mass killing of ordinary Navy by the captains of the pirates. You killed my partner, I killed your friend. The hatred between the Navy headquarters and the Whitebeard pirates is irreconcilable. Even if they knew that Enel was helping to fuel the flames, they would not be able to deal with Enel in a short period of time because of each other's restraint. As for trying to trouble him afterwards, Enel won't give them this chance either. Aokiji couldn't bear it any longer. Compared with the iron-blooded soldier like Akainu, he respected life more. Whether it's a navy or a pirate. The Whitebeard pirates are not the kind of pirates who wantonly burn, kill, loot, and do all kinds of evil. In a sense, they instead maintain the stability of an area. If it weren't for their differences, Aokiji and them might even become friends. On the other hand, the current Enel seems to be an out-and-out villain. War is just a means, and killing is not the fundamental purpose of their war. The naval headquarters launched the war to combat the arrogance of pirates and warn the world. The purpose of the Whitebeard pirates' war is to rescue their partners. And carry out the rule that, everyone who harms their partners must pay the price. There are reasons for both sides to start the war, but Aokiji can't see how to add fuel to the flames and expand the benefits of the casualties on both sides to Ainil. If you want to increase your prestige, you should take off the head of a big man, instead of attacking ordinary soldiers. It seems he just kills for the sake of killing, and this is just for pleasure. Such unreasonable villains are even worse than those who kill for profit. The danger is greater than those sea dregs who raise butcher knives for money. Actually Enel did it for no reason. Aokiji didn't see through him. First, he didn't understand Enel's special ability to absorb life force to strengthen himself. Secondly, Enel's strategic goal was too big to be imagined by Aokiji. What Enel is eyeing is not just a Whitebeard pirate group, he wants to attack the entire navy. When infringing on a person, it should be thorough, leaving no trouble in the future, and not giving him any chance of revenge. This is the principle that Enel has always adhered to. When he was chased by Garp for the first time in the past, he didn't take revenge on the navy either. There is no point in destroying a navy branch or the like, and it will make the enemy more vigilant. Just do it thoroughly. The personal action against Garp, of course, is to kill him directly. For the entire navy's operations, that's going to be a bit bigger, too. For example, kill all the grassroots elites of the navy, and destroy hundreds of naval bases at the same time. If Enel makes such a fuss in Marineford, he will definitely become a thorn in the side of the Navy headquarters, a thorn in the flesh. There is also the Whitebeard pirates, who will also regard them as mortal enemies. Enel needs to seize the opportunity and give the Navy a hard one at a time. With the support of the world government, it is impossible to completely defeat the Navy, but it is still possible to deal a heavy blow to the Navy so that it has no time to trouble itself within a year or two. Carter said to Caroline with the phone bug, "Contact Dive and Simon and let them start over there." Diff was grimacing at the moment, and Enel's movements were so big that his feet were weak. And he couldn't get in touch with Doflamingo, and he was a little confused. "Idiot, let you do what you want. It's just for you to give an order." Carter looked unhappy. But Lord Carter, Lord Doflamingo, he... Don't worry about him. Dover sent you to Enel, didn't he? Just let you tell him some information about Enel. Your responsibility to Doflamingo is just, report. Whatever Enel needs you to do, you just have to do it obediently. If you don't want this credit, I don't care. Simon, Vika, Doran can all replace you anyway, it's just a microphone. Insect, you can give orders directly, even if Dover wants to stop it, it's too late. Carter said. Aye. What are you, Diff, how are you thinking? Leave the Don Quixote family and join us. If it wasn't for the fact that you were my friend, this cat wouldn't have given you this chance. Meow. Dive was silent. He was not a fool. Little people have their way of life. In particular, he was in frequent contact with Enel, and it was easier to perceive the changes in the Black Triangle Chamber of Commerce. Chapter 424-4 Pirates are waiting. Enel's power is increasing day by day, and his voice in the Black Triangle Chamber of Commerce is also growing. At the same time, his relationship with Doflamingo gradually began to crack. Enel's upbringing caused him unease, doubt, suspicion, fear. Diff was originally a nobody under Doflamingo. Enel had a bad sense of direction, so he needed someone to lead the way when working with Mingo. Diff got on with him just like that, and it became a relationship like a regular partner. Diff is not strong, but he is very self-aware. Carter and Enel get along very well with him. I see, Mr. Carter. Please allow me to join the Enel pirates. Dive made a choice. Enel obviously has more potential. Moreover, his relationship with Enel is better than that with Mingay. Dive knew very well in his heart that he had to make a choice between the two. Doflamingo had long since distrusted him. And if Enel and Mingay break, he is staying in the Don Quixote family, and even if he is not handled, he will not be able to maintain his current status. On the other hand, on Enel's side, he can also obtain a good position in Verslow just by virtue of his relationship with Carter and Enel. Meow, welcome, you'll be my direct subordinate from now on. Don't worry, I'll talk to Doflamingo, if that kid dares to say, no, I want him to look good. Carter waved his cat's paw rather domineeringly. Thank you, Mr. Carter. One will definitely handle this matter properly. Then I'll leave it to you. Carter is also not afraid of Diff's betrayal. The phone bugs have been hacked by Caroline, and he can't spread bad news. Besides, Diff is not the only one there. Anastasia's former crew members Doran and Vika were also dispatched. Diff is only the head of the Chamber of Commerce in name only, and the real command is carried out by Carter through Caroline. North Sea. On the sea, several pirate ships gathered together. Looking south from them, a small island could be seen. A navy is stationed on the island. Several pirate captains looked at others vigilantly. In front of them stood a man in a black suit with a black triangle skull badge on his chest. He had neatly stood up his hair, wore a tie, and looked impeccable. These pirate captains are all big pirates, with a bounty of tens of millions. In Beihai is also a well-known figure. However, the middle-aged man was not afraid at all, with a relaxed smile on his face. He is a member of the Black Triangle Chamber of Commerce, or more precisely, Anil's subordinate. "How are you guys thinking?" he asked. "Simon, are you telling the truth? If you dare to deceive us, we will not let you go even if you are the subordinate of that big man." Simon was a guard in the royal palace of Versace in the past. Later, after Anil captured Verslow, most people were skeptical of the king of the bounty, looking forward to the action of the Navy headquarters. When he took the initiative to ask to join Anil. Anyway, there were no losses for many of his subordinates, and Anil arranged him into the Chamber of Commerce. "Of course it's true, won't we find out when we see the results later?" Simon said lightly. "Besides, didn't it say in the newspapers about the execution of Fire Fist Ace?" Fire Fist Ace's execution is right, but the destruction of the entire naval headquarters is too exaggerated. A blonde pirate captain had a suspicious look on his face. "It's too early to say anything, but when the results come out later, can't you just watch the video? I hope you can actively participate in the battle by then. I promise that if the naval base is captured, the Chamber of Commerce can give discounts on the price of weapons in the future, and even get the right to buy devil fruits. Also the qualification to join Lord Anil, the future commander of the Four Emperors." When it came to devil fruit, the pirate captains were obviously breathing a little faster. The secret treasure of the sea, eat it to gain superhuman strength. Even in the Great Waterway, it is very valuable, and for these pirates from all over the world, it is a great temptation. You don't need to exercise hard, you can get more powerful strength in one bite, which is simply priceless in the eyes of these desperados. Devil fruit, of course, refers to Caesar's artificial devil fruit. Although Enel himself needed it, it was okay to promise to go out for a small amount. Caesar's artificial devil fruit technology has made a breakthrough in stages, and more than 20 have been produced. In order to add some leverage to this battle, Enel sent all these to the four seas. Pirates are driven by profit. There is also the qualification to join Enel's command. The fake Straw Hat Gang in the original book was able to use Luffy's fame to gather so many pirates after 2 years. And Neil, one of the founders of the Black Triangle Chamber of Commerce, the former king of Chiwahai, is even more famous. If he shows another wave in the top war, he can gain more followers. To attack the naval base is to join the Enel pirates. The strength of the Chamber of Commerce in the past 8 years has extended a great route, and there are some branches in the four seas. Together with Doflamingo, he built an underground dark empire. And now, it is through this commercial network that Enel has contacted many pirates of the four seas. Unite them to attack the naval branch of the four seas. In order to meet the Whitebeard pirates, the Navy headquarters recruited a large number of elites from various branches around the world to form the 100,000 Navy elite troops on Marineford Square. The consequence of this move is an unprecedented emptiness for the guards of the Four Seas branch. Generally speaking, this does not have a big impact. After all, there are not many pirates who will take the initiative to attack the Navy and have a brain. But it's different if someone pushes the envelope. If Enel recruited excellent partners such as Akutagawa Komuro in order to defeat the Blackbeard pirates and capture the Dark Fruit, he was dormant for 8 years, running the Chamber of Commerce, just for this moment. He wants to maim the entire Navy in one go. Pirates are hostile to their greatest enemy, the Navy. If the Navy headquarters is really destroyed, it is not impossible to attack with the pirates when the naval prestige has dropped greatly and the bases around the country have been guarded empty. Hatred for the Navy, the impulse brought by the advent of a new era, the wealth on the islands where the naval base is stationed, the temptation of devil fruits and cheap weapons, and the opportunity to join the Aenial pirates, the future men of the four emperors. At the moment, there are similar things going on everywhere. Countless pirate groups from all over the world gathered in twos and threes on the sea not far from the island where the naval branch was stationed, quietly watching the video phone bugs. They are waiting for the outcome of the war if the naval headquarters is routed, as the men from the Chamber of Commerce say. Next is the carnival of their pirates at the moment when the new era comes. Chapter 425 Enel preparing for the live show. G1 Base. This is the most important branch of the Navy, second only to the naval headquarters. Located at the entrance of the new century, it is the forefront of defense against the four emperors. Originally, even during the war on the top, there should be a certain amount of guards here. However, because Shiki appeared in the Chambord Islands, even the high-end power here was transferred to Marineford. Only one naval unit was left to be stationed symbolically. A white line of water reflected sunlight far away. What's the situation? The Sentry Navy yawned and stared at the sea. The white line got closer and closer, and his expression soon turned horrified. Sea tsunami. Be careful to avoid. Away from the coast. Quote. Boom. The mountain-like tsunami came, and the terrifying force shattered everything along the coast. Under the water, a huge shadow could be faintly seen. The tsunami came and went quickly. Several damaged warships and several collapsed buildings in the harbor proved that what just happened was not an illusion. What's the situation? This tsunami is a bit inexplicable. Hey, did you see it just now? A navy was still staring blankly at the sea. See what? There seems to be something in the sea just now. The tsunami just now seems to be a splash caused by that thing swimming over. Ha ha ha, did you read it wrong? Yeah, how is that possible? If it's true, how old must that guy be? Haha, maybe it's my dazzling eyes. The Navy scratched the back of his head, and he also felt that he had read it wrong. Under the sea, a bluish-white lizard-shaped sea urchin with tiny wings twisted its body. The thick scales are as strong as city gates. Along the way, all the creatures retreated in horror, and even the turbulent ocean currents were cut off by the huge body. It is so big that even if its belly is against the seabed when swimming, in some shallower waters, the dorsal fin will still stick out of the sea. Like a hill that suddenly appeared. When it passed Mermaid Island, it stopped and looked around, as if waiting for something. A frog-shaped sea king swam over from the darkness, stuck to its head, and whispered a few words. The lizard-shaped sea king rolled its huge eyes, glanced at a tattered sailboat on the seabed, and swam straight in one direction. Van der Deacon clutched his heart and hid in the cabin, gasping for breath. Captain, that's a sea king. A Murloc's legs were trembling next to him. Oh ho ho ho, yes, that's a sea king. What a perfect and great creature. Just a look just made me dare not move. Shiro, I really want to get you more and more. As long as I marry you, that power will also be under my control. There was a feverish gleam in his eyes. Two thorn spears. Aokiji attacks Enel. Roar. The huge roar shook the ice spear directly into pieces. Ah, what a terrifying power. It shattered my ice just by roaring. Childish. Black brilliant flame. The giant dragon condensed in darkness smashed the ice bird and rushed towards the green pheasant. Boom. The violent explosion kicked up large clouds of dust. Be careful, that guy's darkness can disable the devil fruit's ability. Zero reminded. What? Qingzi was shocked. Suddenly, a huge gravitational force came from the opposite side, and it seemed that something in the body was about to come out of the body. It made him very uncomfortable, and the ability of the devil fruit was also a little out of control under the gravitational force. Dark water. This is the real dark water. Against the gravitational pull of the demon inside the capable person, Not the physical attraction that Anil used to be. The dragon's claws kept expanding in Qingzi's eyes, and when he was about to be caught, Qingzi finally overcame the discomfort and regained control of his abilities. Ice Age. Brush. A violent chill erupted, and the ground, air, and Enel were frozen. The dark water also stopped following the cessation of Enel's activities. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Aokiji quickly stepped back and distanced himself from Enel. Crack clap clap. The ice cubes shattered, and Enel burst out. Sure enough, it's not easy to fight after you have a defense. In the battle, intelligence is also very important. Some tricks are hidden and used at critical moments, which can catch the opponent by surprise. Once the opponent is prepared in advance, the effect will be greatly reduced. Enel never let Carter reveal his abilities, just to hide it and use it when dealing with Blackbeard. He fought with Garp, and wounded him by relying on the other party's ignorance of his ability to not be afraid of sea towers. Zero was also wounded by Anil because he didn't know Anil's ability to perceive his position and the effect of dark water depriving him of the Devil Fruit's ability, and then bit off an arm. In the original book, the reason why Whitebeard was at a disadvantage in the fight with Titch at the beginning was not clear about the ability of his dark fruit. After learning about it, he immediately beat Blackbeard into a dead dog. Almost all of the characteristics of Enel's abilities in combat have been exposed, and then facing the general is not an easy task. It's so dangerous. Aokiji's face was solemn, and he saw Enel's sturdy record in his eyes. Carp and Zero didn't get anything from him. If it wasn't for Zero's reminder just now, he might be in danger too. The consequences of being caught by Enel are obvious to all. What the opponent lacks is dodging ability and fighting skills. If he fights head-on, he will definitely fall into the disadvantage. I haven't been injured at all since the battle, what a monster. Anil's terrifying strength has already been reflected, and he has fought against general-level powerhouses one after another, and his opponents have suffered serious injuries, but he seems to be nothing. In fact, Enel was heartbroken. Is it good to suffer twice the pain of the dark fruit? At first, I wanted to test it because I just got the dark fruit, and I was too excited to feel it. But now that he calmed down, the pain began to invade the nerves. If it weren't for the fact that the goal had not been achieved, he would have wanted to run away. Lahaha, I'm also working harder although it feels very dangerous, but for the sake of the mission, I still have to get on it. Zero muttered as he walked to Aokiji. Hey Navy, that one. Cooperate with me to kill this guy. Aokiji. Is this guy really the leader of CP0? Is it reliable? Want to join forces? Let's go. Roar. The black dragon flew into the air and let out a thunderous roar. Anil estimated in his heart that a Zero who lost his arm and his combat power dropped greatly, plus a green pheasant whose attack power was not outstanding, his resilience should barely be able to resist. In order to give some confidence to those pirates who are eyeing the naval base in the world, he is also preparing to start a live broadcast. Chapter 426 Upcoming Shanks. Akainu, Kayabu, Tautu, and T-Dolphin pushed the Whitebeard pirates into a corner. The unavoidable ace can only confront Akainu. However, the restraint of the fruit ability put him in an absolutely unfavorable situation. With just one blow, he was knocked to the ground again. Luffy stopped in front of Akainu. Dorig's son, you die too. The lava fist hit Luffy in the face. Boom. A big sword wrapped in a domineering armed color blocked his attack. Do you want to protect these two sinners? Carter Lovewater. Akainu looked gloomy. Meow. Carter tilted his head. Luffy is my friend, you are not allowed to kill him. I heard that you are a dog, I hate dogs the most. The dog reminded him of the Urhaman on Black Moon Island that he and Enel suffered a lot. Luffy, go leave this guy to me. Thanks, cat. Wow, that stupid cat. Burning the fruit is what Huo likes. It actually intervenes. Hey Milo, are you listening? If you have time, come over and kill it. The captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. What the fire wants. Heron gritted his teeth. Luffy is Kemi's friend, and he barely knows her. But it's just a nodding friend. Between the burning fruits that the fire needs, do you still need to ask how to choose? I'm helpless too. It's not easy at all here. Milo flashed blue light all over his body, and thunder arcs circled around him. In the distance, a dragonhorn warship is advancing rapidly against the wind and waves. No, it's the wind, the waves, the clouds all helping it. It seems that the whole world is making way for it. Skull flags with scars at the corners of their eyes fluttered in the wind. The thunder fell like raindrops in the sky, but once it reached the surroundings of the ship, it stopped, and then slowly dissipated into the air. It was as if there was an invisible barrier preventing the lightning from falling. Shanks' face was not very good-looking. "Boss, how are you? Can you hold on?" Reiki Lu bit a piece of flesh. "It's okay, this consumption is nothing. What is needed now is to hurry to the naval headquarters. If it is later, it will be bad." Shanks gasped. After he got rid of Kaido, he drove the Overlord territory to speed up the sailing of the ship, all the way from the New World. Although it is not that the battle consumption is relatively small, it is not easy. When it was 200 kilometers away from the naval headquarters, thunder continued to fall in the sky. This greatly increased his burden. "Who is it? It should be the one with ability." Beckman stood in front of Shanks and kept stomping his feet. "I'm afraid it's the Fruit of Thunder. The Navy headquarters should face the Whitebeard pirates with all their strength now, and there shouldn't be any extra combat power to come to interfere with us. The same is true for the Whitebeard pirates as the world government. It doesn't seem right. They only need a victory to show the world, and it should not be in their interests to fight with the Whitebeard pirates. The overall balance of power in the world is the goal of the 5 old stars. I am afraid that a third party has intervened in this war. His purpose should be to completely consume the forces of the Whitebeard pirates in this war. At the same time, the Navy has been severely damaged." Beckman figured things out by guesswork alone. "Do you know who it is?" Shanks asked. "I don't know, there are too few clues. But among the known forces, the most likely ones are Kaido and Enel. We only got rid of Kaido not long ago, so the possibility is even less. Enel, he has enough strength and power to ascend to the throne of the 4 emperors after the fall of the Whitebeard pirates. There are enough motives, and his abnormal behavior in the previous period has also increased his suspicion." Milo was startled for a while after hearing this. Damn it. Who is this guy? How could he guess so accurately? But at this point, no matter how accurate the guess is, it is useless. The general trend has been formed, and Enel has contributed to the flames from behind, and now he has stepped on the stage, which also means that his next summit is already doomed. Jesus cloth. You still haven't found the trace of that guy. Shanks was a little anxious. Beckman's stomping sound made him more impatient. "No, I don't know where he is at all. That guy's sniper distance is terrifying. It's the first time I've seen a sniper with such a terrifying range. It's really troublesome. Now is not the time to be dawdling. Boss, leave those thunderbolts to me. Just go with all your strength." Lucky Lu swallowed the meat and patted his stomach. Shanks nodded. The speed of the boat suddenly increased. Milo evoked a sneer. "If you can guard against it, guard against it." The output was increased, and thunder and lightning fell from all directions, surrounding the entire ship. "Ah, it's happened." Lucky Lu showed a trace of panic. "It's no problem to deal with a few lightning bolts, but if so many fall together, he can't prevent them all." Don't talk so much. If we really relax, it will be bad." Beckman smoked a cigarette and stopped half of the thunder and lightning quite calmly. It didn't work. Milo always felt something was wrong. Suddenly, a sense of crisis flashed. He lowered his head quickly, and a bullet flew past his hair. Jesus cloth gasped at the smoking pistol. "Don't underestimate the snipers of the red-haired pirates." Milo finally understood what was wrong. They speed up, not to hurry, but to get close to themselves. Jesus Boo's sniper range is indeed not as far as Milo, and they couldn't do anything about that kind of inexplicable thunder at first. But as the distance got closer, Jesus' clock found Milo's location. He knew that since Milo could locate them so accurately, then the actions of himself and others might also be under the control of the other party. So he can only pass on the information to his partner quietly. And Beckman also understood his intentions very well, so he deliberately performed it, making Milo think that they were in a hurry to go to Molenfaldo. Huh, no wonder you were just dangling in front of my eyes, stomping your feet incessantly just to make me more anxious. Shanks looked surprised. He didn't understand anything at all, he was really in a hurry. I didn't expect you to understand either. Beckman exhaled. Jesus kept shooting at Milo, giving him no room to breathe. While Milo dodged bullets, he occasionally fought back. But these scattered counterattacks were easily blocked by Lackey Lou. Can't even procrastinate. Ahahaha, the interception operation seems to have failed. Goodbye then. We must have a good communication next time. Milo looked at Jesus BU, his eyes full of fighting intent. He dropped Proverbs and disappeared into the sky as a thunder. Chapter 427 Empty World. Air Cannon. Dragon Claws. Two Thorn Spears. Kai Wing Shield. In the sky, Enel was no weaker than Zero and Aokiji. He had to take a lot of advantage in moving in the air battle, and the other two were capable people, so he had to carefully avoid the dark water. There was no way to take Enel for a while. Bucky held the phone bug in his hand and stared blankly at the battle in the distance. Warring States vs. Shiki. Carp vs. Newgate. Zephyr to Rayleigh. Anal to Kuzan and Augustine. Carter to Sakazuki. Peach Rabbit, T-Dolphin, Kayabu and many lieutenant generals are the captains of the Whitebeard pirates. 6 battlefields, roaring constantly. Molenfodor was trembling, and the naval headquarters building had been torn apart by the aftermath. The foundations of the islands were a little overwhelmed, and huge ravines appeared in the square. The dazzling light, the burning earth, the crystal-clear glaciers, the angry Buddha, the roaring lion, the trembling atmosphere, the billowing black smoke, and the overflowing sword energy outline a scene like the end of the world. And this scene was spread all over the world with the phone bug. Countless people widened their eyes and looked at the devastating scene in astonishment. Is this really a vision that human battles can trigger? Bucky has a nosebleed under his red nose, he's freaked out. However, his subordinates were not frightened. Captain Bucky, what a great opportunity. Just take off the head of a big man, and you can push your prestige to the highest peak in the pirate world. Yeah. Don't you feel the urge to go and show off? Go and get Whitebeard's head. You have nosebleeds, you must be unable to restrain your excitement. Bucky blinked blankly, he was fascinated. Righteously waved his hand, how can I take advantage of people's danger? Only in an upright showdown can I show my strength. What a broad mind. Is this the friendship of men? I see, Captain Bucky, you must have a sense of sympathy for the enemy. You can really think about it. Mr. 3 complained. By the way, you don't plan to end the game yourself, so please tell us your views on some battles. Yes, such a high-level battle, many people have seen it in a fog, so please explain it to everyone. Bucky dragged his chin and felt that this was a way to improve his reputation, so he decided to guest star as a commentator. Cough cough, first of all, the most intense battle must be Whitebeard's battle. As a veteran pirate, the battle between the Golden Lion and the Admiral is not bad. Finally, let's talk about the betrayed Shichibukai Anal. Although he became famous early, but because he did not show up very much, there has been very little information about him. He rose strongly in this war and fought against the General Ouchi, but it's still a lot worse than those old-fashioned powerhouses. Bucky himself didn't actually understand that kind of battle. Augustine's attacks were invisible, and the figure was also flickering, which was directly ignored by Bucky. What does it mean to be a lot worse than the old-fashioned powerhouse? The battle here is the most dangerous. However, there are not many people with discerning eyes, and after being explained by Bucky in such a random manner, Enel's pattern instantly dropped in the hearts of many people. Caroline stomped her feet angrily. Damn it. Anastasia, go and teach that big red nose a lesson. He slandered Lord Anal. My job is to protect you, the rest is out of my hands. Really, Lord Carter doesn't have time to answer my phone either. Roar of the Black Dragon. Boom. The dark rays mixed with domineering armed colors swept across the square and brushed over Bucky's head. Anal didn't do it on purpose. He hit the green pheasant, and the other party just avoided it. Bucky was in a cold sweat. Hey, can you restrain him for a while? Augustine asked. I see. Aokiji nodded. Seeing their exchange, Enel instinctively felt that something was wrong. Looking at Augustine's appearance, it is obvious that he wants to enlarge his move. Black bullets. Dark balls spit out from Enel's mouth, shooting at them both like machine guns. Empty shock. The air kept shaking, forming a barrier. The dark ball stopped not far from the two of them, not even an inch. Practice empty bombs. Boom. The compressed air cannonball deflects Enel's attack. Shave. Aokiji burst out, approaching Anal. The dragon claw swung down. Ice Age. A blast of cold air erupted. Anal's body suddenly solidified, and the dragon's claws were not far above Aokiji's head, but they couldn't fall. A bright white sphere appeared in Zero's palm. Glittering brilliance. Aokiji's pupils shrank, and he stepped back. He felt extreme danger from the small ball. Zero stared at the small ball with all his attention. Obviously, it was not easy for him to condense this. Clap clap. The ice cubes shattered, the dragon claws fell, and a large piece of dust was thrown on the ground. Enel shook off the ice chips from his body and stared at Zero. The other party seems to hold back a big move, but it doesn't seem to be very dangerous. Perceive the threat of this move to oneself, it seems that it is not as big as a Kainu's magma fist. 3 question marks appeared on his forehead. Go ahead. The ball left Zero's palm and expanded rapidly. A field enveloped Anal and Zero, and Aokiji had already noticed that it was not good enough to retreat far away. Anal clearly felt a pressure coming from his body, and his blood seemed to boil. Blood spilled from the corners of his mouth, and his muscles kept tearing and healing. He found himself unable to breathe. Lahahaha, struggling in despair. You can be proud of letting me use this trick. This is my ultimate mystery. No empty world. It's still moving with me, so you can't escape. Die painfully in suffocating despair. Zero gasped for breath. Maintaining this domain was a huge drain on him. Enel looked at Zero with the eyes of an idiot. A minute has passed. 2 minutes passed. 5 minutes passed. This guy really isn't a normal human. He can hold his breath for so long. Wait, he shouldn't be able to hold on for long. There was cold sweat on Zero's forehead. 10 minutes passed. They looked at each other silently, and the scene fell into a strange atmosphere. It is obviously not easy to maintain Zero, and Enel is willing to exhaust his energy with him. I'll just watch your performance quietly. Please continue your solo show. Anel's mouth curled into a smile, like a silent mockery. Zero finally couldn't help roaring. What the hell is going on with you? Why don't you fall down? Enel, guess. You have to find the latest chapters when you read a book. You are out. WeChat follow the beauty editor helps you find books. It's really not wrong to read books and flirt with girls. Chapter 428 The legend ends. In order to adapt to fighting in the water, Enel has evolved very extreme abilities. It can even increase consumption for anaerobic respiration. Therefore, in the airless world of Zero, in addition to the change of air pressure requiring him to use force to resist, the lack of air is not a problem at all. Zero is actually not weak at all, with a silent and invisible super stealth ability, a strange and terrifying void-free world. It doesn't feel good to anyone who is against him. In terms of single combat, he is even more dangerous than the 3 generals. However, when I met Enel, the 2 skills were almost useless, and because I didn't understand the ability of the other party, I was beaten up by Enel. The war is drawing to a close. Akutagawa Huang Rider and others help the Whitebeard pirates from time to balance the power between them and the navy. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. Akainu was covered in blood, and his desperate fight made the battle extraordinarily fierce. Carter's left front paw was badly burned, and the cat fur on his stomach was blackened. Under Akainu's astonished gaze, it took out a mass of blood dandelions from the backpack space. Injuries healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Come, fight again. He has a blood return bag. Carter had a mean smile on his face. Akainu's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. This stuff is up. Whitebeard clutched his stomach, panting. Garp's chest sank and he coughed up blood. Shiki's leg was broken, and Sengoku was missing an arm. Sky and Whitebeard already had the will to die and went all out from the start. They have all reached the final stage at this time. Jia ha 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 Warring states, it's almost time to end it. Shiki touched the ground with his hand, and a crazy smile appeared on his face. Yeah, it's time to end the decades of entanglement. Warring states widened his eyes with anger, and his body radiated infinite light. Whitebeard's right hand is bent back, muscles bulging. Looking ahead with sharp eyes, Cap. Ah, Whitebeard. Lion Lion King Tooth Roll. All the buildings on Malenford were brought together by invisible forces to form a giant lion's head. The earth seemed to have been chipped away by a layer. A large amount of seawater surged from the sea, compressed, and condensed the body of the lion. A lion half the size of a Malenford roared up to the sky. In front of the lion, the Buddha's light shines on heaven and earth. Taking the Warring States period as the center line, swords, rocks, corpses, all things shrouded in the rich Buddha's light slowly melted away. Buddha light shines. Rumbling. Malin Fodor cracked like glass, torn apart. A huge crack appeared in the sky. People far away in the Chambord archipelago can feel a slight tremor. The sky is moving. Garp rattled his fists. The seemingly inconspicuous fist, but condensed the terrifying armament color domineering that anyone was shocked. Bone fist. Boom. The terrifying explosion swept across the four directions, and the resulting hot wind even blew people into the sky. A small mushroom cloud slowly rose, and the turbulent smoke filled the sky with a scorching aura over Malenford. Wow, Herring just grabbed the flaming clothes, not letting herself be blown away. Meow, Carter stood still in the wind. It's a little tricky to keep its weight down. Enel raised his wings to block the bullet-like stone. Get down. Hold on to the ground. Ordinary navy and pirates fell to the ground one after another, trying their best to resist the shock wave. Luffy, lie down. Ace pressed Luffy's head and fell down. Daddy. Ace looked at the center of the explosion with tears in his eyes. Wow ah ah ah. Mr. 3 made a candle wall. Unfortunately the action is still a beat too slow. Bucky didn't hide in time, and the wind blew the sky. With quick eyes and quick hands, he tightly grasped Mr. 3 Feet's scarf. Let go, I'm about to be strangled. Mr. 3 Feet's face turned purple. Wow, my feet. Bucky didn't pay attention, his feet were blown away. His body couldn't be too far from his feet, so he also flew out. The aftermath of the explosion subsided slowly, and the dust fell to the ground. How's it going? Who wins and who loses? Everyone looked nervously at the center. When the smoke and dust slowly dissipated, there were 4 figures standing there. They were covered in blood, their own and their enemies. A tie? Someone asked suspiciously. Ryder leaned on his umbrella and whispered, "Goodbye, old friends." Crane looked at the 4 motionless figures with cold sweat on his face. An ominous premonition came to her mind. Mr. Carp, Aokiji said softly. Akainu's face was still cold, but he didn't attack again, but looked there quietly, which was enough to show that he was not at peace. Daddy. Grandpa. Ace and Luffy shouted. Mr. Shiki, Huang's eyes were filled with sadness. One of Ski's legs was broken during the fight, and now he was propped up by his sword. All over the world, countless pairs of eyes stare at the screen motionlessly, quietly waiting for the result. Some people swallowed nervously, and some reporters could no longer write with their trembling hands. God bless this world, someone prayed. Big news, big news. It's a blast this time. Morgans held the pen in his wings and kept jotting things down in his notebook. Hee, your newspaper is going to sell for a lot again. Stacy held a cigarette, with an inexplicable smile on her gorgeous face. The two of them were at the palace in Verslow, with Dauber standing cautiously aside. Speaking of Stacy, what the hell are you doing? Come to Verslow while Enel is away and stay with the minister of Verslow. Morgans sniffed keenly. There is an air of conspiracy. Lord Stressy, Dauber was nervous, and if Enel knew that he was secretly meeting with Stacy, he would be finished. Stacy smiled and said, just to talk about business. I believe you are a smart person, you should remember to keep it secret. There was a slight murderous intent in her eyes, and the threat was self-evident. That of course, but I need the detailed deployment of the top war navy. Morgans made a condition. He needs to decipher something of public interest to make his paper more attractive. Okay, anyway, there's not much to hide once the war is over. It's okay to give it to you. By the way, what's going on with this video? It shouldn't be made by someone from your government, right? I don't know, probably not. Stacy was also puzzled by this video. The four stood there quietly, silently. Dad, what's the matter with you? Answer quickly, Dad. Lieutenant General Garp Sengoku Marshal. Ah, no one is calling the old man Ski, it feels so desolate. I'll call, Herring muttered, putting his hands in a trumpet shape in front of his mouth and shouting, Old man Ski. Dead, just squeak when you die. Do you have to find the latest chapter when reading a book? You are out. WeChat follow the beauty editor helps you find books. It's really not wrong to read books and flirt with girls. Chapter 429 Best of the Game. Squeak. A voice came from behind and above, and the herring jumped up like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Hey Milo, don't be scary. Be calm. Look at Huang's expression. Milo rubbed Herring's head. Qingyu glanced at Yan Huang, stunned by his substantive killing intent. It was not aimed at her, but wanted to kill people indiscriminately. Basas and others wisely stayed away from him silently. Amidst the cries of the pirates, Whitebeard spoke slowly. Daddy. The will passed down from generation to generation will not be forgotten, and the history of hundreds of years has always been carried by people. One day, someone will challenge the world government. At that time, a huge war will break out across the world. When that truth was discovered, One Piece, there was. Bastard. Augustine scolded, his face ashen. The pirate audience in front of the screen was about to start cheering when they saw a pair of feet fall from the sky. A small red ball rolled out of the shoe. With a bang, an explosion sounded. Whitebeard, Shiki and others fell to the ground one after another. Ahaha, I finally found my foot. Did the Bucky cannon accidentally fall out? It looks like I have to take care of it in the future. Otherwise, it will be bad if it blows up accidentally. Bucky happily assembled his body. Then he suddenly felt that there was something wrong with the atmosphere. It seemed like someone was really injured just now. Bucky fixed his eyes and saw that Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Garp, and Sengoku were surrounding him and fell to the ground. Navy, Yi, D. Pirate, Yi, D. Augustine. Enel, Sigma, D. Pike closing parenthesis question mark. Rayleigh, Sigma degree hollow up pointing triangle degree. The person watching the battlefield through the video phone bug, Sigma degree hollow up pointing triangle degree. There is only one sentence in their hearts, fuck. Bucky was dumbfounded, a long drop of snot hanging from his nose. I probably should have done a great thing. This record broke the sky. He is the best in the game. Could it be that I defeated these 4 legendary guys? Did God really want me to be the Pirate King? Bucky can already imagine that the world looks at him with admiration, fear and admiration. His subordinates shook their hands, and they couldn't even hold the phone bug. Then he exclaimed, Captain Bucky. It's amazing. You are for this moment. No one has ever accomplished such a feat. I'm afraid that even that one piece is nothing more than that. Mr. 3 was stunned, and he hurriedly shouted, "You idiots! Stop shouting, shish!" Before Bucky could enjoy the respect and awe of him, he felt a chill in his neck, a chill rushed up from his spine, and his scalp became numb. He felt the eyes of countless Navy and members of the Whitebeard pirates who wanted to kill. Not only him, but even his brain-dead fans were scared to shut up. That it's actually a misunderstanding. Bucky forced a smile, and then ran away. Action. Neil recovered from the shock brought by the Bucky cannon, and then shouted in a low voice. He took the lead, flapping his wings and rushing towards the fore. "Stop him," Aokiji shouted, although he didn't know what Anil wanted to do, but his malicious look knew that he must not be allowed to get close to the fore. "Recapture Daddy," Marco shouted, ignoring Whitebeard's order to retreat, and the first to charge towards Enel. "HMPH, so far how could it be possible for you to get in the way?" Milo shone with blue light all over his body and turned into a giant thunder giant. "Although it's a bit ugly, but I can't care about that much. 300 million volts discharge Thor." Boom. His voice was like a thunderous explosion, and his eardrums hurt. Surrounded by thunder, dancing like silver snakes. The tall figure like a giant, the power like a natural disaster, is daunting. Milo has a big move. Herring covered her ears. Luhuo lifted her up, and then used Waiba to quickly get away. "Don't be afraid. Go." The Navy was brave and fearless. "Lay to go." The thunder giant slapped the ground with a palm, and the current surged. As the ground is conducted, high-voltage currents continue to flow to the ground. The Navy, who was running with big strides, fell to the ground in an instant, unable to move. "Hey, people who don't know how to get armed, quickly put their feet together and don't run." Zan Taomaru shouted. As the captain of the scientific corps of the Navy headquarters, he also knew a little bit of scientific knowledge under the influence of Bergabank. "Huh." The speed of light kick struck, and Milo disappeared in an instant. "What's the matter? How can such a huge body move at such a high speed? What a tricky ability. Damn, where is that guy?" The Marines searched for Milo. "Leave him alone, go to the rescue of the Warring States Marshal." After being reminded, they suddenly realized that Milo was not the target. "Stop Enel first. Kizaru in the sky has been stopped by Ryder. I won't let you pass so easily. Be careful that guy, in the earth." Boom boom boom. Thunder pillars appeared one after another, not falling from the sky, but emerging from the earth. Milo turned his body into lightning and merged into the earth, with branches throughout the square. The earth is poorly conductive, but not completely insulating. Milo's approach is just a little more expensive than the metal pass, and the movement speed is a little slower. Carter spread his 4 short legs and ran towards Enel. It knew what Enel was going to do next, and rushed to the escort. Akainu did not stop it, and turned to attack Ace and Luffy. In his opinion, Enel has become a climate, and it is not so easy to solve. But if these 2 evil germs on his side are not killed as soon as possible, it will be a huge threat to let them grow in the future. Akainu's actions forced Joes to stay behind to cover Ace, while Momotu and Chibu both chose to rescue Garp and Sengoku, whose lives were uncertain. Shiryu stood in front of Aokiji. "Kuzan, I can't let you go there. Ice Army Blade." Aokiji didn't say much, and directly attacked with a knife. Zero turned into air, bypassing Milo and Akutagawa, and dashing towards Anil. "Lahahaha, although I don't know what you want to do. But I can't make you wish. It's happened." Milo and Huang's expressions changed, they just didn't notice Zero's movement. Meow. A pink meatball hit like a cannonball, and Zero was directly knocked out. "Weiss, you just do your own thing. Leave it to me here. I will never let anyone go there." Carter's face was full of seriousness. "Oh, then leave it to you. Carter, Milo, Huang." "Understood." The 3 of them formed a triangle to escort Enel, and then outside were Shiryu, Ryder, Basas, Oka, Poison Q, Lafayette, Choate, Pizarro. Darkness poured out from Enel's body, shrouding the bodies of the four. Chapter 430 Cat Assassin Sword. Looking at the dark ball that seemed to devour everything, everyone had an ominous premonition in their hearts. However, no one acted rashly, and the moment Enel arrived, it was announced that their rescue had failed. The four who were powerless to resist, even if they hadn't died in Bucky's explosion just now, if Enel had the heart to kill them, it would be easy. In fact, Ski and Garp were dead before the Bucky cannon exploded. Because Garp was injured by Enel before fighting him, Whitebeard still had a breath, and after saying that sentence, he died under the cannon of Bucky. Sengoku is the ability of the Eudaemon species, and was finally supplemented by Enel. Enel doesn't actually have many hostile feelings towards Whitebeard and Sengoku. It is only because of the conflict of positions that he has hostile intentions. Ski and he are friendly. Only Garp, Enel was deeply disgusted. For a person he doesn't know, targeting him everywhere is simply sick in his opinion. No matter how noble and moral the other party's motives are, in Enel's eyes, he is his undead enemy. Even if he didn't die in a fight with Whitebeard, Enel wouldn't allow him to survive the war. Garp's hatred is number one on his blacklist. He devoured Garp's body without hesitation, and then discarded the remaining powder on the ground at will. Stepping on the powder of Garp's corpse, he stripped Sai's abilities. Boom! There was an explosion from outside the dark ball. Aokiji, Kizaru, Zero and others joined forces to launch an attack. Ainil knew that he had to hurry up. The Junjun fruit and the Buddha fruit were both top-level devil fruits and could not be wasted. Carter took out a few dark green bombs from the backpack space and threw them out. In order to deal with this situation, the witty Carter was well prepared. Kizaru and Zero's expressions changed drastically, and they quickly retreated. Heilu Stone. Ice Shield Wall. Aokiji condensed an ice wall to block the flying sea floor stone bomb fragments. Hey Cat, didn't I tell you already? Remind us before you drop the bomb. Milo flashed a piece of debris and shouted at Carter. When Carter dropped a bomb on Dolores's house, he took him seriously. Meow. Carter turned his face to the sky, pretending that I didn't know anything. Milo's teeth were itchy. This cat's shameless. In front of a powerful enemy, Carter was also reluctant to expose himself. In order to delay time, he finally showed the trick of stabbing Titch in the back in front of everyone. Carter has a sea-floor stone long knife in his hand, and he has a large knife in his hand. A round green void appeared in front of it. Carter stabbed the knife into the hole, and in an instant, dense voids appeared in the sky, and countless knife shadows flickered. After its backpack fruit is awakened, it can open the space door for putting in and taking out items at the same time. Stab the knife through the door that was put in, and go out through the door that was taken out. It has a limited total area to open doors, but an unlimited number. So in an instant, countless knife shadows appeared in the sky, covering all the enemies who came. In the eyes of Qingzi and others, there are knives attacking from all directions, from the front, the back, up, down, left, and right. What's more deadly is that this knife is inlaid with Heilu stone. Cat multiple assassin swords. Wow! Marco screamed and fell from the sky. Because he was too worried about Whitebeard, he rushed too hard and did not avoid Carter's attack. Damn Heilu Shi, he covered his wound, his face gloomy. Carter's knife is specially made. Not only is it inlaid with sea tower stones, but in order to cooperate with this move, it is convenient for him to leave sea tower stones in the enemy's body. The structure of the knife is not very strong. Divided into many sections, as long as you fold in a specific direction, the first section will fall off. After being pulled out of Marco's body, its knife was shortened, and the part that fell off was in Marco's wound, inhibiting his ability. Carter can attack and sneak attack, which is a nightmare for those who are capable. So although Milo was a little unhappy with it, he didn't dare to mess with it after being taught a lesson. This ability, even if he has the speed of thunder, he has to be careful to avoid it. Ice armor. After the green pheasant put a layer of ice armor on its body, it rushed over. It is really troublesome to face this move in the situation so far, and you may be defeated if you are not careful. But after knowing it, the threat is not that big. He noticed that Carter's knife was not armed. Is it not necessary? The answer is no use. Carter's space cannot pass through items that attach large quantities of unstable destructive energy. For example, a Kainu's magma, or items that are too fast can't be received armament-colored domineering, sword energy, beams, lightning, etc. Are also within the scope of non-revenue. Aokiji put a layer of ice armor on his body, and Carter's assassin sword was ineffective against him. Without the domineering ordinary swinging sword, it is impossible to cut the ice armor of the green pheasant mixed with the armed color. Of course, it was Shiryu who stopped Aokiji. Carter only had to deal with those who couldn't resist its assassin sword abilities. Just like Marco, even if he knew about Carter's ability, there was still no effective means of evasion. In actual combat, the phenomenon of mutual restraint between capable people is very serious. Some very powerful abilities are eaten up in the face of other abilities, and they are useless. Zephyr abandoned Rayleigh and rushed towards the battlefield here. Ha. He punched Carter in the face, then made a cool gesture and said, "Let me deal with this cat. Come on over. I won't let you disturb YC." Carter directly ignored Zephyr's attack. "Don't underestimate people, you big fat cat. Big fat cat. Big fat cat." Carter was taken aback. These three words echoed in his mind. His eyes were fierce, and he looked at Zephyr with murderous intent. PFF'd, Zephyr revealed the truth in one sentence. Herring covered her mouth and tried not to laugh. Carter was as sensitive to the word, fat cat, as Bucky was to the big red nose. Anal can say that it is fat, but outsiders absolutely cannot. Meow, Carter was very angry, but for the sake of Wei-Shi, it endured. I'll wait for Wei-Shi to get things done, and you will look good. It would rather endure Zephyr's attack on its own, but also use the assassin sword to stop Kizaru and others. Cat, why do you work so hard for him? Zephyr knocked Carter away again. Blood spilled from the cat's mouth. The blood donation dandelion has been used up, something that can only be made by consuming part of Anil's resilience for a while. For Anil, resilience means fighting power, and if the resilience drops to a certain level, it is quite dangerous for him, and he might be killed by someone who seizes the opportunity. So the stock is low. But even so, Anil would always prepare a blood dandelion for Carter, even if it was always a waste. When the last dandelion dissipated, Anil always gave it a brand new one. A total of 3 were prepared this time. 1 was given to Whitebeard, 1 was still in Anil's hands, and 1 Carter used to cover Luffy's battle with Akainu. Why? Because Wei-Shi is my relative. The closest relative. You will never be allowed to disturb him in the past. Meow. Carter howled. It lost its clan when it was a child and lived alone in the North Sea. At the most perplexed time, I met Enel. It spent its childhood with Aenir, and in its heart, Aenir is his brother. Working hard for the sake of the brothers, isn't it a matter of course? Chapter 431 Flutter. Anil stuffed a cloud of transparent energy, representing the fluttering fruit, extracted from Sai's body, into an apple, and the apple underwent a series of bizarre changes in an instant. The size of the apple has grown a lot, and the surface has grown strangely patterned. The whole fruit exudes an indescribable allure. However, in the eyes of those who are capable, it is disgusting. It's not just that the conflict between the two demons makes the capable person instinctively loathe the rest of the fruit, but when he sees it, the unforgettable taste seems to come out of his tongue again. Anil did the same, and stuffed the fruit of the shock into the apple, and the fruit of the Buddha was still stuffed into the apple. He loves apples. Back then, his dragon fruit fell from the apple tree and hit him on the head. In the end, the darkness slowly swallowed the 3 corpses, and a trace of vitality flowed out of their darkness into Enel's body. Make him feel the urge to groan. Enel woke up in time from this enjoyment. Every time he absorbed life force, It made him feel like he was taking drugs. Very refreshing, refreshing to the urge to almost slaughter all life in front of me. Absorb these vitality and strengthen your body. With just 4 people, his physical fitness has improved by 0. Oh, for the strength of the generals. It seems very little, but to know that the general has almost reached the limit of the human body, it is very difficult to improve a little. In just an instant, he achieved something that others might not have achieved after working hard for a year or 2. Whether it's the shaking fruit or the thundering fruit, this fruit, even if it has the destructive power of a natural disaster, is ultimately limited by the ability's own physical strength. And the power of the dragon fruit is here. It can break the limitations of the human body. Its growth is limitless. Although at the beginning, because of Enel's weakness, the speed of acquiring resources was relatively slow, and it was not even comparable to the normal growth of others. But in the later stage, others will stop because of the limits of the human body. He has become stronger, and the speed of strength improvement will not only not slow down. Instead, it's getting faster and faster like a snowball. Once he encounters an opportunity like a war on the top, he can achieve leaps and bounds. Boom! The dark ball suddenly dispersed, rushing towards the surroundings like a tide. Zero very cautiously retreated a long way. He was frightened by Enel's endless tricks, and worried about what new tricks he might have. To the ashes of the Warring States period. A clay pot was thrown at Aokiji from the darkness. He hesitated, then froze it in midair. After being absorbed by Enel, the corpse will be turned into powder, similar to the ashes. The clay pot containing Whitebeard's ashes is thrown at Marco. Both Sengoku and Whitebeard are respectable opponents, and cannot give in because of interests. Even if it's a corpse but the last ashes, Enel, are still carefully left behind. Shiki's corpse, Enel didn't want to absorb it because of Huang. But before the war, Ski himself asked to become Enel's power, and then let him use this power to open a new era. As for Carp, does a man with strong hostile feelings need to keep his hands? No matter how tragic he died, Enel would only snicker. Marco tightly hugged the pot in his hand and shouted angrily, "You bastard, what did you do to the corpse of your father? What did you do? Marco, if you don't help, your Whitebeard pirates will be wiped out." Enel pointed to the pirates who were suppressed by Akainu and a group of lieutenant generals. Marco glanced at the clay pot in his hand, and finally said, "I will never let you go." He was worried that Whitebeard's last relic would be shattered in the battle, so he retreated. But he had already made up his mind to take care of Enel in the new world. Won't let me go. Me too. Enel didn't stop Marco. If you follow the trajectory of the original book, the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates should not be afraid. After the death of Whitebeard, Marco just wanted to protect the village his father built. But now because of Carter's disturbance, Ace is not dead. He is the son of Roger, the owner of the Domineering and Domineering, the man who bears the name of D. Its growth is comparable to Luffy. Neil pitied the Whitebeard pirates so miserably, and they had forged an undead hatred with them, and together with Akutagawa's hatred, it was bound to be separated from the Whitebeards. He certainly wouldn't let such a huge threat grow. As for Luffy, Enel is about to break with him. At first, Enel thought it was possible for him to unite against the world government, but now the growth of strength has changed Enel's mentality. The strong do not need to unite with others. Isn't it a world government? If you dare to bother Lao Tzu, one person will destroy them. Almost all the combat power of the Navy has been transferred from the Whitebeard pirates to him. It is really unwise to intercept the Whitebeard remnants at the same time as the war with the Navy headquarters. Aokiji stared at Enel and asked, "Where's Mr. Garp?" "You," said Carp. "He beat me so badly in the past I can't complain about being beaten to the ground by me, right? Everyone needs to pay for what they do. HMMHHHHH. Then you were ready to pay the price." Tautu held Jinpyra. Of course, as long as I set foot on this sea, I was ready to be buried in the waves. It's just a king and a loser. I'm lucky to be alive, and there's nothing to regret when I die. Isn't it natural for the sharp blade in the enemy's hand to cut off your head? If you stir up hatred, you will be revengeful. This is also the law of survival in the sea. Darkness rose into the sky and turned into a curtain, hanging behind Enel. In the form of a half dragon, he is 5 meters tall, like a demon, and against the backdrop of darkness, he looks even more terrifying. Resisting Zeph's attack, Carter, who was seriously injured, stumbled to Enel's side. Enel's eyes flashed with anger when he saw Carter's tragic state. He gave Carter the last special blood donation dandelion. Let's get started. Marines, keep your eyes open, the most beautiful hymn I've ever brought to you. My blessings to this wonderful world. Huang. Enel handed Akutagawa Huang a devil fruit in his hand. The latter took it slowly, looking at the fruit, hesitating again and again. Take it, this is the last legacy Mr. Ski left you. Turn his power into your power, and let the Navy see our power. Akutagawa Huang made up his mind and took a bite. He owes Shiki a lot of kindness, but he can't pay it any more than inherit his power and continue the legend under the name of Flying Pirates. Chapter 432 Annihilation Plan. Evil Devil Fruit. What does he want to do? Aokiji looked extremely solemn, and Enel's actions completely destroyed their naval strategy. Although the Whitebeard pirates were defeated, they also paid unimaginable losses. Akutagawa Huang slowly touched the ground with his white palm. Click. The stones rolled slowly. Then, rumbling, a terrifying movement like an earthquake began. The ground that had been flattened by Shiji raised again, and the soil in all directions gathered together, turning into a stone lion, roaring up to the sky. Roar. Enel stood in front of the lion and laughed loudly. Ah ha 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 ha, are you still satisfied with the performance presented by our Black Dragon pirates? Familiar scenes, deja vu horror images. Many Navy slumped on the ground, shaking their heads and covering their heads. How is it possible? That's. It's the Golden Lion Ski. Isn't he killed by the Warring States Marshal? The terrifying lion just now is still vivid in my eyes, but now, are we going to face this threat again? It's terrifying. The threat of fluttering fruit still exists. Kizaru looked at Akutagawa Huang floating in the air, and said lazily, it's scary. Does this guy have the means to steal the devil fruit of the ability? Recalling the sense of crisis that came from time to time in the Chambord Islands, Kizaru couldn't help but feel a little scared. Unexpectedly, this guy Enel is actually with Huang. And that fat cat has such terrifying abilities. Thanks to his vigilance, he has always distrusted Enel. Otherwise, I am afraid that in the Chambord Islands, he may not be able to go back. Although I don't know what he did, but Akutagawa did indeed steal Shiki's ability. Is the second generation of air pirates. Wait, since Shiki's ability has been captured, could it be Whitebeard's Junjun fruit and Warring States Marshal's Buddha fruit? The Navy suddenly had an ominous premonition in their hearts. How is that possible? In this way, our war, in addition to the dead, what role did it play? The fluttering fruit is still in the hands of the pirates, and the Junjun fruit is also in their hands, and the Warring States Marshal now. For a moment, their eyes were full of sorrow. The ideal of justice is beaten by cruel reality. Upholding justice requires strength and sacrifices, and they will lose their comrades, even their lives. The Navy is not invincible, it exists only as the largest force at sea. When they encounter stronger opponents and more deadly conspiracies, they will also fail. As soon as the Warring States died, the Navy fell into a state of leaderless. There is a faction headed by Akainu that pursues the remnants of the Whitebeards, and a faction headed by Aokiji that wants to crusade Enel, and many grassroots cadres are confused and at a loss. Aokiji and the others didn't want to let Enel go just like that, and Enel didn't want to give up either. Devil fruit. No, this is just an appetizer. Next, it's the main dish. It's rare to encounter such a weak state of the Navy headquarters. How could I miss such a good opportunity? Carter, Huang. Akutagawa Huang stretched out his hand, and a large group of air gathered, forming a hemispherical cover to cover them. It's time to start the final battle plan. Herring. Lu Huo hugged Herring and ran to the sea with his power bar. Run a long distance. What on earth is that guy Anal trying to do? The behavior of those two guys is very suspicious. Jinbei looked at Ryahuo and Herring and said. Boom, boom, boom. Several distant green voids appeared in the sky, and one by one pot-shaped objects fell from inside. It hit the ground, bounced a few times and then stopped firmly. The Navy looked at the cans in puzzlement. Sizzle. Green gas came out of the can, and the person who inhaled it immediately coughed, rolled around in pain, and finally stopped. The distorted faces and the mournful wailing can imagine the pain they endured. Run! It's poison gas. Crane was the first to react and shouted. That damned brat, are you going to wipe out the entire Navy headquarters? Doflamingo's ability to use the string fruit was far into the air, and then looked at Enel with a gloomy smile on his face. Hey, that guy, what a crazy plan. Boom. Enel stepped on the ground and charged towards Zero. Zero, who can control the atmosphere, can expel the poisonous gas, and of course Enel has to entangle him so that he has no time to be distracted. Kizaru tried to stop Enel, but Carter forced him back. Cat multi-assassin sword. They once again faced the attack of the sky and the sea floor stone blade. Carter's knife moved instantly at the exit of the space, and an afterimage appeared quickly, as if covering the entire sky. He covered his nose and coughed a few times. Her pupils shrank, her eyes extremely dignified. This poison works on her. If you let it spread, after a long time, I am afraid that the team below the Lieutenant General will be wiped out. The Navy, facing the greatest crisis ever. The crisis of the Navy is also the crisis of the Whitebeard pirates. They looked at the slowly spreading poisonous gas with despair on their faces. Bastard! Is there no help? On one side, Akainu and the captains. On one side is the high-end combat power of the Black Dragon pirates and the Navy headquarters. Who will save us? Jump into the sea. Look, there is no poisonous gas over the sea. What? They rekindled hope. But as soon as they jumped in, many pirates screamed. The sea was dyed bright red. There are sharks. How come there are sharks here? Ah, the family finally came in handy. Huo huo, huo huo, kiss one. Herring rode a great white shark. Damn it. Aokiji was dragged by Milo, his face anxious. Poison gas has no effect on those with natural abilities. Don't worry about the pirates. Retreat all. Avoid the poisonous gas, try to preserve the vitality, otherwise even if we win, the situation in the entire sea will be out of control. Crane shouted anxiously. Bang! Zephyr punched Enel down. He was stabbed in the stomach by Carter in order to get Zero to get rid of Enel, but the injury was not deep. Teacher Zephyr, retreat. Those poisonous gas, even your body can't hold it. Qingzi shouted worriedly. HMPH, stinky brat. I don't need you to worry yet. That cat has the courage to sacrifice itself for the sake of loyalty, and of course I have the duty to do so for justice. Cut. Enel wiped away the scratches on his face, miscalculated. At first, he never thought that there would be such a guy who can control the air here. Otherwise, if he followed the lineup of the Navy headquarters in the original book, he would be able to annihilate the basic combat power of the Navy headquarters. Even if there is zero disruption, he has achieved a lot at the moment. The poisonous gas has spread halfway across the square. There are tens of thousands of people killed by poison gas, plus the corpses left by the Navy and pirates in the previous battle. Chapter 433, 4 Pirates in Action. A vortex formed around Zero, and green poisonous gas gathered around him. Then form a small ball into the ocean. Although Huang can manipulate the air to a certain extent through the fluttering fruit, but the time to eat it is too short, and the control power is not very strong. Incomparable to Zero, who is an air person in itself. Zephyr and Aokiji looked at Enel vigilantly in case he messed up. Carter was about to rush over, but Enel reached out and stopped him. Enough is enough, killing is just the way, get the current harvest first, or else the vitality will overflow. Dark cave. A palm slapped on the ground, and the darkness spread out around the palm of the hand. It was like laying a carpet on the whole ground, and all the Navy and pirates were shrouded in it. Look, this is the power of darkness, the power to attribute everything to nothingness. Anil laughed wantonly. The following is the biggest gain of his own strength in the top war. This is darkness. Azang's pupils shrank. He had seen a similar scene before. What does he want to do? Oops, my leg got stuck in. A gravitational force suddenly appeared, and all the corpses and severely injured people who couldn't move were inhaled. The living are also slowly sinking. The weaker the strength, the faster the sinking, and the more difficult it is to resist this gravitational force. Move. Don't stand in one place for too long. You'll get sucked in, Joes shouted. Damn, does he want to attack ordinary sea soldiers? Ice Age. The cold air erupted, and even the darkness was frozen in an instant, and the ice spread to Enel's body, turning it into an ice sculpture. However, the frozen state only lasted for a short while before being swallowed by darkness. Rocks, weapons, human bodies, everything above the dark side is sinking. Like the waves of the sea engulfing a ship in a storm. Above this dark sea, everyone has a feeling that they are a boat in a heavy rain, lonely, desperate. Even if you cut with a knife, stab with a sword, or attack the sea with a cannon, it is useless of. This darkness, like the sea, engulfed all attacks. They can only run, not to run to where, just to keep themselves from falling too deep into the darkness and run to another dark place. Iokiji, it's useless. Darkness is the end, despair, the end of everything. Everything will be contained and swallowed by darkness. The smile on Anil's face remained the same. It wasn't some kind of cat or dog here. Even if it was a soldier in the square, it was a well-known admiral in the world. And the pirates who are their enemies are also the best among the pirates. This war is far more than any war he has participated in the past. Although the number is the same, the rebellion in Alabasta is more than 1 million people. But in terms of strength, the level is completely different. This is the accumulation of the Navy and the Whitebeard pirates for decades. These tens of thousands of corpses, not counting the underwater prison, the harvest that Enel has obtained has exceeded the sum of the past 10 years. A trace of life force was drawn from the corpse and gathered, like a river, slowly flowing towards Enel. The light of a single firefly is faint, but thousands of fireflies can light up the darkness. The gathering of such a huge vitality is like thousands of fireflies flying. Not even the darkness of Enel could hide the light of life. Yingying's emerald green radiance shines in the dark sea, brilliant and magnificent. What is that? Life. Marco's eyes showed shock. It's beautiful. The brilliance of life, the melody of death, the last splendor of life blooming at the last moment of fading, actually showing a substantive scene. Ah, this is the beauty I seek. Akutagawa's eyes blurred. Enel's mouth twitched. The companions around Huang all took a few steps away from him. A little radiance melted into Enel's body, and the darkness gradually dissipated, leaving only a faint black smoke lingering around the body. Pirates and the Navy breathed a sigh of relief in unison. The darkness just made their hearts palpitate. There is a feeling of dying at any moment. Ah ha 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 ha. Enel burst out laughing. The muscles in his body bulged, contracted, bulged, and contracted again every time he twitched. Life force flowed from the heart along the blood to the whole body, and finally pressed into the body tissue. Every cell in the body is cheering, every muscle is changing. As his life force was consumed, his body continued to strengthen, strengthen again. The sun in the sky seemed to dim a bit, the wind swept the earth, Enel's broken hair was undulating in the wind, the black windbreaker was somewhat damaged, and the hem swayed. What exactly happened? What did he do? The bodies of my friends are gone. Why doesn't he feel like nothing has changed? Liberation. Countless powders fell from the darkness behind Enel, scattered by the gust of wind, and drifted all over Malenfoder. These powders is it. Yizo looked at the urn with Whitebeard in his hand, his eyes full of horror. That's the wreckage of the buddies. What? North Sea. Boom. The cannon roared. The Navy ship sank with the sound of gunfire. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. A blaring siren blared, red lights flashed, and footsteps came and went. Fire! Fire! Don't stop! The artillery fire poured down like raindrops, and the pirates had smiles on their faces and high morale. The Navy headquarters is over. Let them know how good we are. Go on, kill all the Navy. On the sea, several pirate ships lined up, constantly shelling the naval base. Damn, what's going on? The pirates have all joined forces. A major showed anxiety and anger on his face. Report there are a total of 4 pirates attacking and 1 has already attacked from the other side of the island. What? Let the 4th team intercept. What the hell is going on? These pirates dare to take the initiative to attack the naval base. If it wasn't for the colonel being transferred to Marineford, he could easily get rid of these scumbags. Damn it. The Beihai Naval Branch, at this moment they have received dozens of bases for help. Phone bugs kept ringing, and the liaison was in a hurry. Have the pirates noticed that we are too weak to send troops to suppress it at this moment? The vice admiral in charge of the Beihai branch covered his forehead. The situation was so rotten that he didn't know what to do. Report this to the Navy headquarters. Have them come to support as soon as the war is over. This we can't contact the headquarters at all now. Maybe the war has destroyed the communication system. What? Do you have to find the latest chapter when reading a book? You are out. WeChat Follow the Beauty Editor helps you find books. It's really not wrong to read books and flirt with girls. Chapter 434 Dorag Who Wants to Do Things. The CP agencies with branches around the world discovered that the naval base was attacked by pirates in a wide range, and reported the situation to their superiors at the first moment. Then pass it all the way to the 5 old stars. They looked at the information coming from all over the world with solemn expressions on their faces. The situation in the 4 seas is out of control. It's no accident that the pirates are acting on such a large scale. It should be someone behind the scenes. I'm afraid it's a conspirator who wants to take advantage of the attack of the Whitebeard pirates to weaken the power of the world government. Quote. Are there any motives? The Revolutionary Army. I knew about their threat for a long time. I didn't expect their power to have reached this level. Could it be that they disguised themselves as pirates and grew stronger? No, this is not in line with their beliefs. Once exposed, they will lose their mass base, and Drago should not do such an unwise thing. Besides, these pirate groups are too scattered. There are great waterways in all seas. With such power, they should choose targets with more strategic value, instead of attacking all bases indiscriminately. I think that man is more suspicious. Black Coffin Anal. This style of guiding other forces to achieve their own goals is very similar to the usual methods of the Chamber of Commerce. Speaking of which, I seem to have received a lot of information about the Chamber of Commerce's contact with pirates recently. At that time, I thought they wanted to sell weapons on a large scale, so I didn't pay much attention. The 5 old stars of the bald kimono said. Let's put it aside for now. The outcome of the Malinford War is the key. As long as we win, we can greatly deter the pirates. When the Navy headquarters is freed, the little pirates from all over the world will not be afraid. From the curly-haired 5 old stars, a Navy asked, how's Malinfaldo? I'm so sorry, we've lost contact with the Navy headquarters. I suspect there's something wrong with the communications room over there. What? 5 old stars looked at each other, a bad premonition in their hearts. The phone bugs that broadcast the war on the top are all from the Chamber of Commerce, and they are all under the control of Caroline. There are 2 types, one is for ordinary people, and it was cut off after the naval headquarters was hit hard. The other is for the pirates who have negotiated with the Chamber of Commerce to attack the naval base. It has been playing until now, and it is precisely because of the death of Carp Sengoku and the large number of casualties caused by Anal's gas bomb that the pirates were given confidence and finally made up their minds to join forces to attack various naval bases. The intelligence system of the world government is strong, but there are always delays in the transmission of information. Screening out effective intelligence from countless pieces of information is a huge workload. After the public execution order of Fire Fist Ace was issued, they shifted the focus of their intelligence to the Whitebeard pirates and the Revolutionary Army. Moreover, Ano was still Shichibukai before the top war began, so the government was not too vigilant about his actions. As a result, they are now unable to respond in a timely and effective manner. In the Red Earth continent, a group of people dressed in dark cloaks walked in the dense jungle. The leading man has a red tattoo on his face. There was a serious look on his face. They were going to do something very dangerous. Sneak attack on Mary Joa. Hey Dorag, is this operation reliable? Malenford's real guarding power does not depend on the Navy headquarters. CP0 is their real strength. Even if Whitebeard is holding the Navy headquarters in check, this person can't beat the Tianlong people. Quote. A hot woman in a jacket, bright lipstick, and a cigarette in her mouth said. She is the army commander of the Revolutionary Army, East Army, Bello Beatty. Really, people are so scared. The giant female Jasmine obviously looked like a big man with a beard, but she spoke like a little girl coquettishly. Generally, when Mary Joa is attacked, the admiral will be dispatched immediately. Therefore, we have not known much about the power of the dragon people. We just want to take this opportunity to test Mary Joa's true defensive power. I just developed a new weapon. Just use this action to test it. South Army Commander Lindbergh looked excited. Don't be too careless, we focus on testing. It's not a deadly battle. Immediately retreat after causing confusion. Drago emphasized. Just try how the Tianlong people will respond. The crow kept muttering, but no one could hear what he was saying while wearing a mask. Hey Crow, how many times have you said it? You have to turn on the loudspeaker before you speak. Betty said. The crow was taken aback. I forgot. Long's phone worm suddenly rang, and a voice came from the opposite side. Mr. Dorag, it's me. Sabo, what's the matter? Is Baldigo okay? Well, everything is normal, I have something to report. Sabo's tone was solemn. Drago's face sank, and Sabo stayed behind Baldigo. He knew what they were going to do, so generally if nothing major happened, he wouldn't call them on purpose to bother them. The phone bug given by the Chamber of Commerce has been broadcasting the situation of the war on the top, and the results are almost out. Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Garp, and Sengoku died in battle. The Whitebeard pirates are defeated. What? Betty was startled. Hey, really? So many legendary figures killed. It's amazing. The crow finally spoke normally. Drago's footsteps stopped, and a trace of sadness appeared on his face. Garp's death made him a little shaken. But he quickly calmed down. As the leader of the Revolutionary Army, how can he be influenced by his personal feelings in battle? No matter how sad your heart is, you can only hide it. Because on this path, he represents more than just himself, but the entire Revolutionary Army. He is responsible to the people who follow him, the people who trust him. The ideal spark has just been ignited, and he can't stop because of personal feelings. Sabo should be more than that. Drago asked. Sabo knew about his relationship with Carp. If not something big had happened, he wouldn't deliberately contact Drago at such a time. I'm sorry, Mr. Dorag, I didn't mean to affect your mood, but I had to contact you about this. Sabo's face was dignified. The Navy headquarters suffered heavy casualties, and the Black Coffin Anal is still facing off against the admirals. The war may not be over yet. In addition, the revolutionary armies all over the world have heard news, and naval bases around the world have suffered. The attack of the pirates. It may be the Chamber of Commerce behind it. Do you have to find the latest chapter when you read the book? You are out. WeChat follow the beauty editor helps you find books. It's really not wrong to read books and flirt with girls. Chapter 435 Redhead Debut. Ha 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 Sabo, why are you so nervous? The attack on the naval base is also destroying the power of the world government. Isn't this very beneficial to us? A staff officer next to him said with a laugh. Malevel, we want to overthrow the Tianlong people, but we must not sacrifice civilians. If the navy is destroyed, countless civilians will be attacked by the pirates, and in the end, it is the innocent and powerless people who will suffer. Sabo glared at the laughing man with a clear dissatisfaction on his face. Hee, you are so naive. We are the Revolutionary Army. We want to overthrow the old system, and overthrow the Tianlong people, as well as those rotten royals and filthy nobles. How can we not die? As long as it is hostile to the world government, we can unite. Whether it is a robber, a murderer, a thief, or a pirate. All power, we can use it. Malevel has always been dissatisfied with Sabo's innocence. Will never sacrifice an innocent citizen. Simply ridiculous. Revolution is not a beautiful and romantic dream, but a road covered with blood and corpses. A bright and beautiful image needs to be established, but the mean and dirty means cannot be given up. You bastard, don't you have any kindness and compassion? If you don't reach out to help the innocent, what's the difference between you and the scumbags? HMPH boring noble. Malevel snorted coldly and walked out of the conference room. The established goal has been achieved, and we should retreat. Let's go, everyone. Anil swaggered towards the sea. He now feels that he has the ability to fight against any general and even kill the opponent. But he didn't want to expose his ability to absorb life force to strengthen his body. Otherwise, it may lead to the pursuit and killing of the world government at all costs. An opponent with no upper limit and an amazing growth rate is terrifying to think about. Aokiji and others stopped in front of Anil. Let the Navy headquarters be like this. If you leave like this, what will the Navy face? Ah, Green Pheasant, you still want to fight. Do you think you have a chance of winning? I am a half-dragon who ate the dragon fruit. I can manipulate the darkness, absorb the life force of the corpse, then store it and use cum to restore my injury and physical strength. Quote. This is the battlefield, do you understand? This means that my physical strength is unlimited here. The injury can also be recovered at any time unless your navy and pirates are dead. Otherwise, you can't defeat them. Me. Anil selectively explained some of his abilities, misleading their perceptions. Let them think that they collect vitality, just to recover quickly in battle. He's figured it out. Milo, Carter, and Huang can hold down the three generals, give the Buddha and Buddha fruit to the fire, and Shiryu can hold down the Peach Rabbit Tea Dolphin. Ryder was able to hold off Zephyr and beat Zero himself. As far as the highest level of combat power is concerned, they are no longer afraid of the Navy headquarters. But the rest of the lieutenants aren't fuel efficient either, and Ryder and Shiryu aren't going all out. If they really fight with the Navy headquarters, Enel and the others have no chance of winning. Qingzi hesitated, and he also estimated the strength of the enemy and is in his heart. Sakazuki is still at war with the Whitebeard pirates, and it seems that there is no winner in a short period of time. The Black Dragon pirates cannot be defeated without gathering the strength of the entire Navy headquarters. But is it really good for the Navy to let go of Whitebeard's remnants and fight to the death with Enel? The answer is negative. The Navy doesn't have that much power to expend. Besides, Akainu doesn't seem to be able to stop. He has already identified Ace and Luffy. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the seaside. What's the matter? How did they come here? It's the Red Hair Pirates. The conflict with Kaido was not too long ago, and he appeared here in a blink of an eye. Akainu's face was unwilling, and Luffy had passed out due to lack of physical strength. By giving him some time, he was sure that the remnants of Whitebeard would be wiped out here. However, the red-haired Shanks stopped in front of him. The man he could look down on in terms of height was like an insurmountable peak, standing in front of him and the white-bearded remnants. Shanks! Bucky burst into tears and rushed behind him to seek shelter. Bucky was just miserable. The Navy saw the Navy beat him, and the pirates saw the pirates beat him. If the Navy pirates saw him at the same time then beat him together. If it weren't for his first-class escape skills and some little luck, he would have explained it here. Ah, it's Bucky. I know about you. It was a complete accident, don't worry, there will be no problem. Shanks smiled dotingly. Bucky looked at Shanks' gentle smile, and his heart was warm. In this battlefield where every eye is an enemy, only you are my good partner. He was moved to tears, and even Shanks' hatred for pitting him for eating devil fruit faded. Oh Shanks! He's finally here. Enel's expression was flat, which he expected. Aoki, what do you think now? Aokiji was sweating coldly on his forehead, and he didn't know what Shank's purpose was. If he took advantage of this opportunity to attack the Navy headquarters, the Navy might really become history. Bastard, redhead, what do you want to do here at this time? Akainu dared not act rashly and asked loudly. If this war continues, it will only increase the casualties of the two armies. Let's stop here. If we haven't fought enough, we will fight with you. The rest of the red-haired pirates surrounded him with unrestrained and unrestrained smiles on their faces. Shanks at the moment is very domineering. Hey YC, when can you be so domineering? You are also a pirate captain, why is the gap so big? Carter shook his head. Enel. MMP in his heart, isn't he domineering? How is this possible? Fire Fist Ace hasn't been executed yet. If we let him escape, wouldn't our Navy be disgraced? Doberman said excitedly. You Navy, do you want to be wiped out here? Shank's face sank. Doberman looked terrified and did not dare to say more. The Warring States period was dead, and no one in the Navy was in charge of the overall situation. Crane hesitated for a moment, then stood up and said, let's stop here. But Granny Crane, if you want the Navy to lose its power to control the sea, then go on fighting. I'm just a big staff officer, and I can't make decisions on behalf of the Navy, but if you still regard me as an old woman in your eyes, then just listen to me. Let the war end. Do you have to find the latest chapters when reading books? You are out. WeChat follow the beauty editor helps you find books. It's really not wrong to read books and flirt with girls. Chapter 436. Please give me a face. Everyone present, please give me a face. Shanks increased his tone. Hawkeye walked out of the square. Where are you going, Hawkeye? Asked a Navy near him. I promise you to fight Whitebeard, but Redhead and Aniel are no longer within the scope of the agreement. Alala, since Granny Crane said so, then let's not fight. Chingzi, one of the three generals with the highest combat power in the Navy at the scene, expressed his position. It's nerve-wracking. This time the Navy was a complete defeat. Although it's very shameless, we can no longer tolerate our self-willedness in such a situation. Let's stop here. Hey, I don't care. Firefist and Straw Hat Kid will go away, but this guy must be killed no matter what. Augustine pointed at Enel. That's your mission, we don't care. If you can confidently kill this monster, go ahead, we won't stop you. Aokiji replied. Augustine was choked for a moment and muttered, really, I'm so embarrassed now that the mission has not been completed. Alas, tilde, the position of the 5 old stars seems to be even further away from me. Aokiji and Kizaru both agreed with the truce, and the 3 highest-ranked men in the Navy had unified their calibers, and Akainu could not refute them. Although he is radical, he is not a person who cannot distinguish the situation. How can it end like this? At least the execution of Fire Fist Ace should continue. Doberman shouted. Enough. Can't do it anymore, let's stop the war. Akainu said through gritted teeth. General Sakazuki, Doberman couldn't believe it, that Akainu, who couldn't tolerate a bit of sand in his eyes, would compromise. Thank you, the red-haired exporter thanked. He had a very tough attitude at the beginning, and this face was actually obtained by using his own strength to oppress him. But the other party has already given in, and of course he can't make others too embarrassed verbally. This time it's genuine. It seems that I have met a few people who said this to me before, but they have all been smashed to ashes by me. Enel looked at Shanks, laughed. How's it going, Enel? Shanks looked solemn, and the person in front of him was the one he was least sure to convince. All the while behavior seems aimless and elusive. Ahahaha, first meeting 4 emperors, Shanks. Really domineering. Carter heard a trace of hostility in Enel's tone. After all, it and Enel have lived together for more than 10 years, and they know the changes in his tone very well. It had a fierce look in its eyes, and it looked at Beckman with a burning gaze. Oka looked at Jesus Cloth. Huang stared at Shanks. I still want to save face for the real face fruit. I don't want to fight anymore. I have got what I want, and the battle with you should also be placed in the new world. Let's go. Enel's gains from this battle are already big enough. He has obtained 3 top-level devil fruits, Junjun, Piao Piao, and Buddha, and he has also harvested a large amount of vitality. It made his physical quality surpass that of the general in the state of not being a dragon. A strong body needs a strong soul to dominate, and Enel's soul has been unable to keep up with the skyrocketing physical strength. His reflexes have dropped a bit now, because the soul can't manipulate the body fast enough. And after fighting for a long time, the spirit is easily exhausted. It takes time for the soul to adjust to the body. Under the load, the soul is exercised to become stronger. Just go. However, Enel was walking in a completely different direction from Milo and the others. Why, see, where are you going? The proverbs are here, Carter reminded. Enel. Why do you put the proverb behind Malenford? He complained. Huh, don't you stop at the back and wait in front of the square to be destroyed. Milo looked at Enel with the eyes of an idiot. That's what I said. Enel, wait for me, Ace suddenly shouted. Huh. Although your subordinates saved me, I am very grateful for that, but what you did to my partner, and the desecration of Dad's body, I will never forgive you. Enel glanced at Carter. Meow, YC, I'm sorry. Carter covered his head with his short legs. It's okay, just a fire fist, Titch's men are just defeated. Of course Enel wouldn't blame Carter. Forgive me, I don't need you to forgive me. We are the enemy, aren't we? If you want to fight, I will follow. Enel stopped, turned around and said to Ace. New World, you wait for me. Ace roared. Well, ha 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 ha, are you Whitebeard remnants declaring war on me? Ace. That's right. Father's hatred, and the hatred of those who were killed by you, we will never forget it. Marco supported Ace. That's right, if we don't repay our revenge, it will be against our morality. Vista said. Josh did not speak, standing beside Ace, looking at Neil, his eyes were full of killing intent. Its meaning is self-evident. Dad treats us with great grace, even if we die, we will repay him. The rest of the captains also gathered behind Ace and looked at Enel and the others. Watching Ace reunite the broken Whitebeard remnants, the killing intent in Akainu's eyes became even stronger. Is this the qualification of a tyrant, the Whitebeard pirates? It doesn't seem to be over yet. Aokiji's face was solemn. It's amazing, but can he really save this flame called Whitebeard pirates, that may be extinguished at any time in the coming storm? Kizaru looked lazy. Obviously, he is not very optimistic about Ace. Ha ha ha, then we will see you in the new world. Enel laughed, thought about it, and then said, Navy. Finally, I have a gift for you. I hope you are satisfied. The opening ceremony of this new era. What is he talking about? Crane narrowed his eyes. Beckman put down the gun on his shoulder and looked at Enel with fear. It really is that guy's masterpiece, Captain. He doesn't seem to be very friendly to us. Enel had no prejudice against Shanks. But Ace has made it clear that he is hostile, and of course Luffy will no longer have a friendly reputation. In this case, can you expect to get along well with Shanks? Although I don't know why he is hostile to us, if he wants to fight, we are not easy to mess with. Even a very flat tone, from Shanks' mouth, was full of domineering. Chapter 437 War is over. Luffy brother. Not good, Ace. Luffy brother's situation is not good. Jinbei was nervous. What's wrong with you, Luffy? Ace ran over, looking anxious. Marco looked at Luffy's condition. It's not good. Even if there is enough medical equipment, I'm not sure to cure him. The injuries he has accumulated are too serious. And here even the most basic medicines are available. No, quote. Give him to me. A submarine emerged from the sea. You are Trafalgar Law. I am a doctor. Death surgeon. I heard a very bad newcomer, said Namur. Hey, how can you give the Straw Hat Boy to such a dangerous guy? Ivankov didn't trust this guy with unknown origins. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not, but if you delay any longer, the Straw Hat Boy will die. You can ask Jinbei to accompany him up, Luo said. Doflamingo is his enemy, but Mingo's strength and Neil who cooperated with him make him almost see no hope of revenge. But at this moment, the Whitebeard pirates can do nothing to Luffy's serious injury, so he sees hope. Straw Hat Luffy's potential is self-evident to be so missed by Akainu. In addition, through his relationship, he can also connect with the Whitebeard pirates. Even if they are not as strong as they used to be, they are still not to be underestimated. Besides, the Whitebeard remnants and Enel are hostile. Rescuing the Straw Hat is very beneficial to his plan to bring down Doflamingo. Captain, I haven't seen each other for more than 10 years. Don't you want to meet Luffy? Lackey Lu asked. No, the meeting now is not the same as the agreement. Shanks shook his head and refused. Jinbei took Luffy to Luo's submarine. Immediately they headed for the deep sea, where it was said that the fighting was over, but it was not safe to say. If there is an accident during the operation, it will be bad. The biggest war since the beginning of the Great Pirate Era has finally come to an end. There is no winner. Both sides of the war, the Whitebeard pirates and the Navy headquarters, suffered heavy losses. The Whitebeard pirates lost their leader and were destined to fall from the position of the four emperors. And the naval headquarters, also under Enel's plan, has further reduced its control over the sea. Chambord Islands. A group of people gathered around the screen with wide-eyed eyes. At this time, what people saw in their eyes was the naval headquarters in ruins, the Black Dragon pirates swaggeringly preparing to leave, and the red-haired pirates and the three generals of the Navy who were on guard against each other. Fire Fist Ace is still alive. The war is over, so. Navy headquarters, defeated. The legendary pirates Golden Lion and Whitebeard were slaughtered, but the Navy also paid a huge price. Marshal Sengoku and Hero Garp died. What will this world be like in the future? On the top of the battle arena, in the sea near Malinford, 7 sailboats were parked at this time. Kid, Hawkins, Drake, Apu, Baruki, Bonnie, these pirates who have succeeded in the alternation of the two eras watched the smoke dissipate over Malinford and smelled murderous new age taste. Becky, I'm afraid Whitebeard's territory has turned into a sea of blood. Hawkins, the survival rate of the Straw Hats is surprisingly high. Apu, I saw something very interesting. The Black Coffin. No, the Black Dragon. Enel, what kind of huge waves will that man make in the new world? Baruki, is even the god of thunder in the sky subservient to that person? What a terrifying monster. What kind of earth-shattering battle will he and the Whitebeard remnant collide? Kira, the great pirate Whitebeard is dead. The war is finally over. Ha ha ha, it's over. What nonsense. The balance of power of the four emperors has been broken, and the Navy has fallen into an unprecedented weak situation. Kaido, Ant, Red Hair and the newly rising Black Dragon Enel, they are picking up. It will be entangled for a while. An unprecedented new era is about to begin. Not only the Great Root, but even the Four Seas, may fall into a chaotic situation where the heroes are divided. Kid put one foot on the side of the boat and laughed wildly. The hull suddenly swayed, and Kid's feet slid off the edge of the boat, staggering and almost hitting his teeth. What's the matter? He looked around with a displeased expression. Look over there, Hit pointed to the sea in the distance. On the far sea surface, a white line moved slowly. In the sun, there is a dazzling light reflected from time to time. What? Kid stared at the white line with a puzzled expression. Drake was a little uneasy, and the animal-type devil fruit gave him an intuition beyond human beings. Instinctively, I felt a burst of depression, as if some terrifying existence was approaching. Cold sweat broke down on his face, the kind of horror that seemed to be facing death. It almost took his breath away. Hawkins' dead face remained the same, but his eyes stared at the white line, and did not dare to relax. That's a tsunami. Baruki's face changed, but he didn't have much fear. They have encountered many tsunamis, and those who can break into here have a few brushes, and the tsunami in the mere tsunami cannot cause any impact. Hey, this tsunami is a little strange. There is no sign as if it was man-made. The navigator on Bonnie's boat was a little puzzled. What the hell? Enel suddenly changed his face, stopped, turned his head and looked behind him. What's wrong, Captain? Lafayette asked in confusion. I'm afraid the fish have all fled. Everyone is scared. Herring hugged Lu Huo, shivering. Big drops of tears fell down her face, and she was frightened to cry. Milo was shocked. How could such a voice exist? Carter also turned around with a serious expression on his face. Meow, an incredible guy is here. There was also a trace of cold sweat on Akutagawa Huang's beautiful face, and the hand he held the sword was shaking. Trembling with excitement. The 7-star sword also lit up, exuding a strange red glow. Everyone in Malenford stopped what they were doing. The originally noisy battlefield suddenly became silent. The air was full of oppression. Akainu's ears twitched slightly. What is this? There was panic on Muir's face. Even when he was facing the Admiral, he was not so panicked. Shanks unconsciously clenched the western sword at his waist. Rayleigh showed a surprised look. How could it be? Could it be it? How could it come here? Do you have to find the latest chapter when you read the book? You are out. WeChat Follow the Beauty Editor helps you find books. It's really not wrong to read books and flirt with girls. Chapter 483 Deep Sea Behemoth. Wow. The submarine Luo was in shook for a while. Luo was performing an operation on Luffy, and with a flick of his hand, he accidentally cut off Luffy's head. I have a very bad feeling, Jinbei said. When he saw Luffy with his head missing, he was so shocked that his eyes almost fell. Luffy brother. Luo calmly put Luffy's head back under Jinping's surprised eyes. Beppo, please drive steadily. I can't have surgery like this. Boom. Huge waves smashed the pirate ships of the supernovas to the ground. What's the matter with this wave? Kid took off the big hipster wet by the sea. Mountain. When they regained their footing, they found that a long and narrow hill suddenly emerged from the sea and moved fast towards Marineford. If seen from the air, a huge shadow can be seen moving under the sea. Hawkeye, who was walking to his own boat by the shore, raised his head and looked into the distance. Boom. Malin Faldo shook. What's going on? There's an earthquake. The Navy all looked at Anil in unison. The fruit of the earthquake was probably in his hands, but the latter didn't move at all. Tens of meters high waves roared. Shanks stared, and the waves stopped moving forward instantly, as if the angry lion had been appeased. However, there was no relief on his face, because the cause of the tsunami had already appeared in front of everyone. Boom. The sea suddenly bowed, and a behemoth appeared not far from Marineford. This sudden mountain rises at a speed visible to the naked eye, straight to the sky. Only then did everyone see the true face of this mountain. The scales are white and green, and the limbs are as thick as hills. A huge head is attached to the slender neck, and the mouth is full of sharp teeth. A pair of small, disproportionate wings grows slightly behind the forelegs. This is not a mountain, but a creature. A terrifying monster as huge as an island. Its head has been hidden in the clouds, but its tail has not left the sea and continues to rise. As if to fly. The supernovas who looked at Malin Fodor from afar were already dumbfounded. Their faces were sluggish, and they could never imagine that such terrifying creatures still existed in this sea. The sea is vast, the sea is unknown. It is precisely because of its vastness that it breeds magnificence and magic beyond human imagination. It is precisely because of its unknown that it has caused countless people to rush to the sea, to take risks, to explore, and to feel the mystery and splendor of this world. At this moment, the vast sea once again revealed its majestic corner to the world. Roar. The earth-shattering roar spread all over the place. That terrifying sound made the clouds spread out, the ocean swayed, and the island trembled. Ah! Countless people covered their ears in pain, and with just a cry, more than half of the people in Marineford lost their ability to resist. You know, they are all elites who survived from the dark caves of Anil. Neptune. How could there be such a sea king? Drake lost his composure, with an undisguised panic. Even if it's a sea king, this is too big. Kid's eyes widened. It's the first time I've heard such a huge and powerful voice. Milo stared at the behemoth leaping from the water. Good do-ent cry, Herring doesn't cry. Lu Huo hugged Herring. as if comforting a child to soothe her panic. It's so beautiful. I don't know how gorgeous this creature is when its blood blooms and its life passes away. Akutagawa Huang had a morbid smile on his face. Shiryu touched the saber on his waist. This thing maybe he couldn't cut it. Ano looked at the huge monster, and there was a familiar feeling on the other side. Similar to himself and the Tianlong people, the vitality is full of ferocity, and it is longer than ordinary people. There was a dangerous light in his eyes. Hey, I think I've seen this kind of scales before. Meow. Carter let out a shrill howl, with a fierce look in his eyes. Killing intent almost condensed into substance. Memories from 10 years ago reappeared in my mind. The seabed vibrated, and large swaths of soil rose up, turning the sea water turbid. Huge ravines appeared on the bottom of the sea, and the mountain peaks were broken. The sea was stirred up by the aftermath of the battle and washed to the surface from a depth of several thousand meters. Then it turned into a huge wave and rushed into the sky. The huge monster roared, and the clansmen screamed shrilly. The pink light blooms, illuminating the seabed like day. A claw strike slashed sharply, the giant beast was injured, and blood flowed like a waterfall. The slender tail swept from the side, slapping the deep-water cat that sent that claw strike into the bottom of the sea. And when it was young, it could only escape without looking back. Carter is actually a very Buddhist cat. If he is not hostile, he gets along very well. It was the first time Enel saw it like this, and it looked like a madman. The abdomen of the giant lizard-shaped sea king has 3 huge claw marks. It looks like it's it. Carter. Enel quickly transformed into a dragon, and a 13-meter-long black dragon appeared in the sky. Wayahaha, this is very similar to the captain. Could it be his relatives? Bosses said with a smile without winking. Huh. Milo directly hit him with 100,000 volts. Idiot, you'd better find out the situation before you speak. Didn't you see the stupid cat and Enel? Roar. Enel roared and provoked the Sea King. Godzilla's house-sized eyes rolled, and he caught a glimpse of Enel flying in the air. Dragon and this kind of breath that's right. That's him, the new emperor. It will never make you grow into a god. Jesla didn't know where Enel was at first, but its attack had already begun. It leapt high out of the water and into the sky. The tail is still under the sea, but the head has already risen to an altitude of 10,000 meters. The huge body covered the sky and the sun, and the entire Malenford was shrouded in a shadow. The sky darkened in an instant. Hey, it shouldn't be. This guy, I'm going to hit him. A look of despair appeared on the faces of ordinary Navy pirates. Even the lieutenant generals couldn't help but change their expressions. Hey, it's not. Bashes, who is always optimistic, couldn't laugh anymore. Oka looked calm. This is probably fate too. Lu Huo didn't care to appease Herring. At this moment, even her life was threatened. Hey, don't mess around. There are allies here. Augustine obviously knew something and waved his hands again and again. Chapter 439. Are you killing yourself? The huge shadow was getting closer and closer, and the dragon head that fell from a height of 10,000 meters was about to hit Malenford. The air is compressed, making a high-pitched pop. The turbulent airflow is like a shock wave. The strong wind swept in, and the huge wind pressure was suffocating. What's even more terrifying is that after the wind pressure, a huge creature as huge as an island. Boom. Invisible coercion erupted. Long way. An aura similar to that of an overlord radiated from Jesla's body. At the same time, Enel exuded the same aura. The two coercions collided in midair, and a turbulent flow of black and red elements erupted like lightning. Under such pressure, the pirate navy standing at the scene was reduced by half again. No way. Yi Zhang was horrified. It doesn't matter if Enel is domineering, but a Sea King has such audacity. Is it the king of the Sea King? Beasta said. Actually, there is nothing wrong with saying that it is a king. It does command countless Sea Kings, and it also has absolute strength. Jesla, it is very unwise to do so. Although no one among human beings can win alone, I've passed you but there is an unimaginable terrifying force assembled. Rayleigh said to himself. Kala Kala, the ice cubes spread. Aokiji's body generally turned into ice, and the right hand was chilling. The dazzling rays of light radiated, and the entire leg of the yellow monkey turned into a state of light. The billowing magma surged, the smell of sulfur came out from the black smoke behind Akainu, and the blood and water on the face mixed with the magma, making it difficult to tell the difference. Hawkeye pulled out his black knife, and the sharp breath hit his face. Darkness condensed in Enel's mouth, and the destructive force converged into a sphere. Carter folded his arms on the right side, and the air was a little distorted. The gem of the seven-star sword lit up, and the red light converged on the blade. Milo turned into a giant of thunder and lightning, shining with silver light. Hey wait, that one is now an allied army. Augustine waved his hands again and said to Aokiji and the others. Friends, that doesn't seem to be able to negotiate well. Kizaru retorted. If it were knocked down, Malinford would probably not exist. Akainu looked gloomy. I don't agree with this, friendly army, that even the Marines are included in the attack. Light speed kick. Big Spitfire. Brutal. The roar of the Black Dragon. 6 types of profound truth. Cats. 6 Kings Cannon. Sakura Chikiri Valley. 300 million volts thunder penalty. Hawkeye swung the knife, and the green sword energy rose into the sky. Shanks also swung his western sword. Almost all the powerhouses present shot at the same time, and various attacks were distributed on Jesla's body. Roar. It let out a scream, and its scales shattered in large pieces. The ferocious wound showed bright red flesh and blood flowed like a waterfall. The strong bloody smell spread instantly, covering the entire Marineford. Godzilla was kicked out and fell into the sea. The terrifying impact set off a kilometer-high tsunami, hitting Malinford. Aokiji shot to freeze the tsunami. Godzilla was beaten up. When did humans become so powerful? There are so many masters on any island. As far as it knows, except for some aliens who have broken through the limits of biology, the strongest among humans is the level of general. At sea, it has the confidence to fight too, and it is not a problem to contend with 3. Humans are inconvenient to fight in the sea. The strength that can be exerted will be greatly reduced. So Jesla took the approach of destroying foothold from the beginning to gain an advantage. Although human beings are flexible, they cannot compare with terrifying monsters such as the Sea Kings in terms of positive strength. Godzilla's collision just now, even 3 or 4 generals may not be able to stop it. Unfortunately, it came at a very bad time. The current Malinfado has assembled a combat power equivalent to 4 or 5 Emperor pirates. When it goes up, it fires map cannons and brings everyone into the attack range. It is simply killing. In just an instant, Godzilla was seriously injured. Its terrifying vitality and defensive power are also reflected here. If the one who was focused on fire just now was Enel, even if he did not die, he would be seriously injured and unable to move. But Gusla was still alive and kicking. After falling into the ocean, he turned around and swam into the distance. It escaped. Although Godzilla has wisdom that is not inferior to that of humans, he is still a Sea King after all. It is out of touch with human society, and it does not know the complex relationship of various forces. It wanted to kill Enel, but as soon as it appeared, it was set on fire by a group of inexplicable guys, and it was seriously injured. It is not a fool, although it is furious, but it also understands that it can't beat this group of people together. Then of course run away. If you don't escape, are you waiting to be made into a snack? Augustine was speechless as he watched the waves that his tail fluttered as he left. Hello, you appeared so majestic, why did you leave in a daze? Also, our goal has not been achieved yet. Can't you see the situation clearly and fight again? Huang, take them to retreat. I'll leave it to you, Carter, let's go. Enel fluttered his wings and flew in the direction Gezra left. Carter took 4 short legs, ran fast, and plunged into the sea. Augustine did not catch up. Their world government and Jesla are actually hostile. It was only because they had the same goal to deal with Enel that they reached a temporary alliance. The enemy of the enemy is sometimes not necessarily a friend. After really cleaning up Enel with Gusla in the past, Gusla will definitely shoot him. In Malin Fodor, there was a naval reason he didn't have to fear it. But in the vast sea, it is very deadly to be targeted by this terrifying ocean beast. Waiahaha, the captain is gone. The two of them don't want to hunt down that gulf, right? Bashas showed an interested look. Compared to this, we should probably think about what to do next. It's not good to stay here any longer. Shiliu took a cigar and exhaled a puff of smoke. Retreat. Hulong patted the ground, and the land with a diameter of tens of meters floated up like a spaceship, leading the crowd towards the proverb. With Godzilla's departure, Herring's mood gradually calmed down. The two eyeballs rolled around, and finally stopped on Lu Huo's chest. Cough cough, I'm really unlucky. I didn't catch the capable person. Poison Q coughed up some black blood from his mouth. Ah, me too. I haven't caught my favorite capable person. Bashas said. Fate will show you the way forward. Oka looked into the distance. Jesla's huge shadow floated under the sea. Behind him, a black dragon was chasing in the air. On the sea surface below the black dragon, a pink cat's head could be faintly seen, appearing and disappearing in the waves. Chapter 440 Chase. Carter swims fast, even faster than many mermen. But it's also difficult to catch up with Godzilla. It appears to be moving slowly, but that is relative to its size. A body that is more than 10,000 meters long, even if it moves 10 kilometers, it is only a body to it. Meow, Carter insisted, his eyes burning with anger. It is actually a very lazy cat, but sometimes very persistent. Roar, Enel roared. The dragon's might rolls and spreads all around. Only then did Godzilla notice that there were two little dots following him behind him. Okay, Black Dragon. Isn't this your goal? Why did you deliver it to your door? At that time, Godzilla still didn't stop, and the encounter just now made it lingering in fear. It's not far from Marineford, so I worry that this might be a trap I am trying to get rid of. In its view, the only person who can command so many human powerhouses is the king of human beings, the Lord I Am. And Enel, the newly born emperor, is probably also Im's subordinate. This is a wonderful misunderstanding. But right now it's all the same. Carter finally encountered the culprit of the group that killed them, and he has fallen into a state of madness. For Carter's sake, Enel certainly wouldn't let Godzilla go. Godzilla also holds great hostility towards this human who has awakened the dragon fruit. This battle is inevitable. After half a day, they were far away from Marineford. The setting sun was like blood, and half of the red sun had already set on the sea. The fiery sunset lit up the sea as if it was soaked in blood. In the sky, there is a golden brilliance in the red, which is extremely dazzling. Godzilla slowly stopped, and the dorsal fin also showed a red under the sunlight. Like a mountain of red rocks. A pair of disproportionately small dragon wings flapped gently. Boom! The dragon's head appeared out of the sea and slowly turned around. The orange-yellow pupils are indifferent and cold, and they are fierce and tyrannical like a wild wolf. Enel looked at the dragon's eyes burning with a faint blue flame and the huge eyes, and both sides felt each other's killing intent. Why attack Carter's clan? Enel asked. He knows that the Sea Kings have a lot of wisdom, and from the eyes of the monster in front of him, he can see the clarity that is not inferior to humans. There is a potency in Godzilla's body, which is the power of the superior who is in a high position, similar to the king of human beings. Enel speculates that the Aquarians may also have a hierarchical society similar to that of humans. But it is very primitive, probably like the tribes of human beings in ancient times. Otherwise, it is difficult to explain that so many different types of sea kings are crowded in the windless belt without attacking each other. At least from the anime, and his own experience over the years, he rarely sees two sea kings fighting. Woohoo, Carter? Jesra asked suspiciously, its voice loud and thunderous. Oh, you can really understand human language. Enel was a little surprised. Human language. No, I don't understand. I can understand, it's the language of dragons. When Jesla said about humans, there was disdain and a trace of hatred in his tone. The language of dragons. Enel's pupils shrank. There are creatures like dragons. Aren't you? How I am didn't tell you. Huh, I am. Anil asked with a black face. That pit bull of Oda is always broken. No professionalism at all. Before Anil crossed, there was no character like I am, who slapped a lot of doujinshi in the face. So he didn't even know who Lord I am was. Oh, you and that bastard are not on the same path. Huh, this is a deepwater cat. There are still fish that slip through the net. The Carter you are talking about, is it? Hoo, since you dare to chase after him, give them all. I'm going to die. Roar. In the process of talking with Enel, Jesra is also observing the surroundings. After finding that no one else was following, he had no scruples and launched an attack directly. It opened its bloody mouth and its teeth were as tall as ancient trees. Its teeth are not sharp, but no one would want to try what it feels like to be bitten by it. Anil had no doubt that if bitten, even he would die. He flapped his wings and flew higher into the sky. Godzilla raised his neck, flicked his tail, and lifted his body out of the sea. It can't fly, but its neck alone has a length of several kilometers. So even the sky is within its attack range. Biting mosquitoes with your teeth is unreliable. Enel's 30-meter figure in front of Jesra is similar to how humans look at mosquitoes. Of course its attacks are useless. Enel avoided it very easily. Carter swam to his neck while his attention was on Enel. Cat Landclaw. 3 gigantic slashes slashed into the wound where Gethra was struck in Malenfoder. Cut off a large piece of flesh. Hold head high. Gusla screamed in pain, rolled over, switched the injured part to the other side, and faced Carter with the intact scales. As soon as it turned over, it immediately rolled up a huge wave, sweeping away like a tsunami. The sediment on the bottom of the sea was stirred, and the sea water was turbid and lost its azure color. Dragon Claw Flying Blade. 5 claws flew out of Enel's hand. Boom. In front of Gethra's hard dragon scales, his attack was deflected directly, leaving 5 faint traces. The corner of Enel's mouth twitched. This defensive power. Are normal attacks ineffective? Darkness condensed in his mouth. He was ready to use Roar. A tail swept over from the side, and before the attack came, the air oppressed by it blew like a gust of wind. Enel stopped the brewing roar and flew upwards, dodging Jesra's tail. His fighting awareness is not very good, and he will not be able to use his strength to exert more offensive fighting skills. Because the soul can't keep up with the body, there is still a slight delay in the reaction, but with Jesla, a beast that relies entirely on brute force, I don't know how many times better. And every time the opponent moves, it will bring a strong wind. With this as an early warning, if he can't avoid it, Anil will simply die. 6 types of profound truth. Cats. 6 king's cannons. Carter took the opportunity to play his charge attack. Boom. A huge explosion sounded on Jesla's body, and the sea splashed into the sky. Then it fell like raindrops. The huge waves set off can engulf the ship, but in front of Godzilla, this is just an inconspicuous little splash. When the water calmed down, Anil's face showed indescribable shock. The opponent was unharmed. Moreover, its scales are wrapped in armed domineering.